goes the short option. Callanan takes a great mark. Can he kick a much needed goal for them? It looks beautiful off the boot. It's coming back. He split the middle and Callanan, what a little champion, and keeps Clarence in touch in this match.
Back to Murphy Cohen, who went back after the ball. Buchner kicked it out. Chance here for the Roos. Shot on goal is good, and Clarence hit back once more. Fisher came busting through, got onto his left boot, sends the ball inside 50. Player went back with courage, I think it was Arnold. Gleeson emerged from it, handball, only went as far as Watts, who tried to clear 50 with a scrappy ball. Swooped upon by Webster, who does as Webster does. Goes forward to Hills. He's got no one inside 50, had to get it moving immediately to Webb. He's got an open 50 in front of him, sends the ball towards goal, and that's wonderful coast-to-coast footy from the Pies. It's bouncing back that way. Roberts will have to get back. Kept it in cleverly. But he turned it straight over to Mitch Rainbird as he looked to come out of defence. Take this margin out to 28 points. Pulls the trigger on his kick, sends it on its way, and it looks pretty good. Umpire had to do a little bit of work, but confirmed the goal in the end.
Even though Glenorchy have got the football back now, as Watt pumps it. Reynolds takes a great mark. He's well and truly back. Benny Reynolds has been fantastic. And now the Roos are away. Harper gets it inboard. Buchner drives it long inside 50. Grace is lurking. Can't take the mark. Picked up though by Blackburn. Blackburn goes in and kicks a wonderful goal for Clarence and keeps them in touch in this contest.
Back underway in the middle of the ground, and Glenorchy will go forward again. Track it half forward. Gunther's there. He just scraps the ball towards goal. Webster will fly. Couldn't gather cleanly, but it'll fall into the arms of Harry Pearce, who bends around and kicks a wonderful goal around the body. And it's all Glenorchy here at Blunston Arena. Harper just puts the ball inside 50. Grace will wait down at the back. He's unable to come up with the footy. Stanton was, though. He found a teammate who kicked around the corner, and it was a classy finish in the end. So Clarence get one back here, moving forward in the Callanan direction. He had a 3-on-1 to contend with, though. And that's just hacked off the ground beautifully. And the Clarence player in Murphy Cohen will run in and dice with death. He took Matty Dilger on and looked over his shoulder, but eventually just put it over the goal umpire's hat. With the footy. His Mott has been great in traffic this afternoon, as has Webb. He got a handball forward. Another chance here for Webb, who just sends another one on its way, and he's kicked his fifth. Back to Arnold. Now Butterworth has it. That's a risky old handball. Well, it fell straight into the hands of Stanton, and he doesn't miss those.
Still in the hands of Clarence. Dangerous territory. But Glenorchy do well enough to get it out now. Here's Josh Arnold. Didn't bounce favourably for him. And the Roos have a look at goal and kick another. So they get another goal back here, the Roos.
The year is having absolutely outstanding 2017 as Clarence go forward again through Siggins. High ball. Wants had his work cut out for him. Roberts swooped on the loose footy. Sent a footy goal bound. And they've got another one, Clarence. So Glenorchy have fallen asleep here at Blunston Arena in the last 5 or 10 minutes. Moves onto the ground, Stanton emerges with it, lifted in the second half. Scrubby ball inside 50, and guess who's got it? Ian Callanan.
They can't, can they?
Ian Callanan takes an all but uncontested mark inside 50. Tell you what, kicks this, it's back to 19. Sends the footy on its way, and Ian Callanan has kicked the goal. Clarence, there couldn't be a pulse, could there? There couldn't be a pulse.
He plays on quickly as he needs to do. Grace is there, can't strip up the footy, and now it's with the Magpies. Webb goes short. Joseph in the bright orange boots. Quick handball off to Zach Webster. Webster loads up just inside 50, and it's game over at Blunston Arena. Zach Webster kicks a goal for Glenorchy, and the Pies have won it.
Welcome to KG5 for the last round of the TSL season. Two old foes go toe-to-toe in a dress rehearsal for the finals. It's Glenorchy up against Clarence. I'm Damien Gill, bringing this one live to you. Alongside me is Brent Costello and the ever-insightful Cam Brown.
Afternoon, Damo. Great to be here, and we are on the eve of finals, so really exciting time to be a part of the TSL. And this game this afternoon is going to be an intriguing one. Obviously, a lot of players rested ahead of the finals starting next week, so not really sure what to expect, Brownie.
No, it'll be an interesting one because we know both teams, as you say, Breno will already know who they'll be playing and where and at what time. So I guess in many respects, both teams will just be hoping to set up with their structures, not to get into some bad habits and hopefully get through the game unscathed. And if you look at the form line from last week, Damo, we were there watching Clarence. It was a really hard-fought win, and once again they got the job done over Lauderdale. And Glenorchy at the Twin Ovals, they had a bit of a battle on their hands until the last quarter, and they were able to wrestle away and get a comfortable win in the end by 8 or 9 goals. So it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out today. We know it's a premiership reunion here today for Glenorchy, 2007 I think, so certainly a bit of emotion around that one. So the Glenorchy players will want to have a good account of themselves today, no doubt about that, but we know the rich history and rivalry between these two teams, and there's been some interesting results already this year.
You talked about Glenorchy having a battle last week. They've had a fair few battles all through the season, and one of the main battles has been an injury battle, but they get back a couple of key players this week, Breno, and things are looking a little bit brighter on that front.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Great to see Zach Webster back out there. Obviously had an up and down season in and out of the team, so for him to get a little last minute tune up for ahead of the finals is absolutely fantastic. And that's what you want today, Brady. You don't want to get an injury in this game, do you? Obviously nothing riding on it, so if we see a big injury this afternoon, that would be devastating for both teams.
Oh, exactly right. And look, that's where it's difficult sometimes from a motivational level for teams. I mean, they're professional footballers, they've got to get over that, but there's no doubt you'd have an eye on to next week. I'm really interested in Glenorchy, Damo, just to see where they're at, because a spluttering season in different ways, and they've had some unavailability of players at different stages and haven't quite got their season going, but have they timed their run? And from that point of view, I'm really interested to see how Glenorchy will go. So if they can win the game today, it'll go in with a lot of confidence against Launceston next week, knowing that they're good, their best is good enough to beat anyone, which I think it is. It's just whether or not they can bring it with a consistent run in the finals.
One late change with Mitch Hills coming out of the side, which is a big out considering they'd already lost Cam Duffy. Into the side comes Adrian Peach, your boy, Breno.
Yeah, look, nothing about Adrian Peach, so I'm happy to claim him. He'd be up against it today, though, you would think. Up against Wade Wall, of course, and Sammy Siggins in the ruck for Clarence. So that'll be super interesting, Brownie, to see how this young man comes in and performs. And these are the games, if you do perform well, coaches stand up and take notice, and you may find yourself playing in a final potentially if all things go your way. Well,
that's right. I mean, he's got plenty to play for, young Peach, and he might be fortunate and gain the fruits with a late withdrawal with Mitchell. So we'll see with there. But Glenorchy, I think today, I'm really interested to see with their ball movement in particular. I think they've still got some terrific kicks of the footy in their team, Damo. I'd like to see Liam Smith get a hold of the footy. I think he's a really damaging player by foot. Probably hasn't quite had the year that I've seen from him over the last couple of years. So I'd love to see him have a really strong influence on the game today. We know that they're very well set up down back, aren't they, with the Arnold brothers, who have been just such consistent players for them a long time. I think Watts is an important player for them. He's been a little bit injury riddled through the second half of the season, so to just try and get some continuity in his game would be good. Harrison Gunther back, obviously had a bit of a stint running around for Western Jet, so it would be important for him because he's a hard matchup at times when he can lead up at the ball carry and get some separation from his man, and good overhead and kicks it really well. So from the Glenorchy perspective, you'd be thinking those guys would be hoping to have some really good games today. But for Clarence, what did you make of them last week, though, mate?
I thought they were good, Clarence, without overwhelming me. I actually probably was more confident with Lauderdale out of the matchup, which was strange considering Clarence got the chocolates. But they've had some big omissions this week, putting a few players on ice. You've got Standen, Bailey,
O'Brien out of that lineup, and there's some quality names. And then, of course, the circus that was midweek, the Jack Gleeson fiasco. They'll miss him this week, but he'll be back for the final next week.
Yeah, 4 big outs and all different players, but we know Gleeson's a best and fairest winner, and look, fortunate for him, and that's great that he'll be able to play some finals footy with that original decision being overturned. But we just saw last week Bailey too, just break down their structure a little bit from down back. So he's just such a pivotal and consistent player for them down that, almost in the way some of the Arnold boys have been for Glenorchy. So some big outs, and particularly Stannon, who we know is a damaging small forward. So you'd expect Callan to probably spend a little bit more time inside 50 than perhaps he has in the past, rolling up into the midfield, I guess trying to counteract the fact that Stannon isn't in the team today.
Tips, boys?
Yeah, look, as we said, it's hard to say with the amount of names out of the side, but I think Clarence, obviously in pretty good touch. We saw that last week with the narrow win over Lauderdale, who have been fantastic the last, since round 3, really, haven't they? So I think Clarence are in pretty good form. Glenorchy have a few out, as we know, so I just think the Roos might get it done, Brandon.
Yeah, look, I'm going to probably go the other way. I think that the Pies, their home ground advantage, Roos, fairly big win for them last week, and an important matchup. So, look, I just think maybe the Pies, with a few of those key outs that Damo mentioned before from a Clarence perspective, but I don't think there'll be much in it, boys. I think it'll be a kick either way.
Young Holmes, another out, and he's been impressive this season. And I'm with you, Branny. I'm going the Magpies. Clarence, just a few too many prime movers out. The ruck battle is maybe an area where Clarence can get some dominance, but I don't think it'll be enough. I think the Magpies will get going and get a win here on their home deck.
An interesting, Damo, that in our pre-match, Breno hasn't mentioned Sam Siggins, so that's
that is rare, isn't it?
Oh, I've got all afternoon for that, boys. Looking forward to it. I actually was about to, because he was out there in the middle just then, and he was standing next to Callan Daly from Glenorchy, and that is a sizable difference between those two.
It is indeed. As the umpire raises the ball in the middle here, the siren sounds, and we'll get things underway. Brent Costello to get things moving.
So we haven't got a known ruckman today for Glenorchy. Oh, that's a terrible start. We've seen that a few times this year now, boys. We've seen that a few times, not only in the TSL but the AFL as well.
I want him to have another crack at no.
He's gone with the ball up. So we're underway finally here at KG5. There's my boy Sammy Siggins. Couldn't control the footy. And now it's the Magpies with the first possession. Oh, big tackle from Jake Cox. Slams his opponent to the ground, but it's Dilger now. Gets the kick away inside 50 for Glenorchy. A high ball. Pierce is there, collects the footy. Ball to ground. Jones in there for the Roos. They get the football out. Umpire said play on. And now the Roos try and control it out of there. The Magpies attacking zone. And eventually we will now, you would think, have a ball up. There it is, the whistle. It's going to be an intriguing afternoon of footy here. As we said, a lot of players from both sides rested for this game. Not a lot on offer with the matchups already declared for next weekend. Here's the Roos now. Get it out. And a good strong mark taken. Here's Callanan. Has a bounce on the wing. Looks ahead. Not a lot on offer for him. Benny Reynolds runs towards the footy. But it's the Roos that have it. They try and centre it. Mark couldn't be taken. Here's Brady Jones, though, under pressure. The kick's a little offline and way offline in the end, out of bounds on the full.
Important game for Murphy Cohen today, Damo, because we saw him with an early touch there. He's been in and out of this team, but he's a player that, playing at the lower level, certainly dominates that competition, and we've seen where he's had some moments at this level. He's been picked up by Ben Reynolds early today, so he's a player that's got a lot individually to get out of this game, you'd hope.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. He's kicked big bags, especially in recent weeks. I think it was 6 or 7 last week. As the kick out of defence is not a great one for Glenorchy. Gathered out there by Keegan Wiley. Powers a kick inside 50. It's gathered well by Liam Smith, who's operated a little bit off half back in recent times. A nudgy little kick finds Reynolds. He'll be important with some key tools down. Finds Daly. Eager to get moving. Finds the chest of Jay Bowden. Quality player down the wing. Finds Gunther. This is good ball movement out of defence from the Pies. on centre wing. A pokey little kick straight into the lead of Zach Webster. First look, he's been injured. He's had a tough year. That's a good kick. He finds Rowbottom. So Rowbottom with a look inside 50. Keegan Wiley.
Terrific play from Glenorchy, wasn't it, right for the back half, and it was a mark from Liam Smith. And just on the commentary side here, Damo, just some really exquisite foot skills from Glenorchy. They were very patient just to be able to spot up the man, and now's an opportunity for the first goal of the game.
So Brodie Rowbottom goes out to the right, nudges his kick out to the left. It won't make the journey, but it's good mark over the top. And it's Harry Pearce who comes down with it. He had what Ace Cornelius termed as his best goal in best game in black and white last week, and he started hot. He'll look to come around and put through the first major of the game. So Harry Pearce around the corner and through the middle, cries for touched, and the umpire says it was. So a behind. Kick taken quickly by Cox. A searching ball outside 50, taken right on the paint. And it's a kick into the man on the mark by Murphy Cohen. And the ball's going nowhere.
And our two boys, Josh Watts, a laid out, injured in the warm-up. So Matthew Joseph, number 22 for the Pies, coming in late for him.
Big loss for Glenorchy. No doubt about that. He's a star, Josh Watts, as we see Palmer Hughes take the ball over the line for another boundary throw-in.
Bits of Dennis Bishop there all over that for us.
Some big outs for both teams this afternoon. Hopefully that's not too serious for Josh Watts on the eve of finals as the ball comes back in. Sammy Stiggins smashes it away. It's the Magpies, though, that get the kick back into their attacking zone. And now they pick the footy up. It might be Mitch Rainbird, a high floating ball, and it's a goal. There's actually...
Yeah, young Daly. He was in a perfect spot, wasn't he, Damo? If you ever want a front and centre, because he worked hard to get to the contest in the first place and then was able to read it off the pack beautifully. And a clever snap around the body. We saw him come in a couple of weeks ago, Damo, and he when early on the season when Glenorchy had a lot of injuries and he got his opportunity, and he's a really hard-at-it player, and it certainly gives his all. Great start.
He provides a bit of grunt in there, doesn't he? Daly. Heavy number on his back. I'm surprised he's able to run round with it. It's that heavy. 62. So back into the middle. Siggins v Peach. Siggins gets first hands on it. Webb immediately claimed for the Magpies, going nowhere, and it'll be rinse and repeat in the centre of the ground here at KG5. James Webb, a player that's really come on, Brownie. As the ball's back again, Siggins taps over the back. Daly Sockers moving at the Magpies' way. It's picked up by Fisher. He slips as he looks to get rid of it. Finds a Magpie instead, who's immediately claimed, and again, we'll have a ball up.
He's one of those players, young James Webb, who can break the lines, run and carry, and normally pretty neat by foot, and can push forward and kick goals. We've seen him do that on a few occasions this year, Damo.
Up they go. Peach with a hit out this time. It's just cleared by Dilger. A bouncing ball should find the boundary line. Not quite. They come and claim it. It was Bowden who handed it off. Webster now on the ball. Tries to beat a couple of roos, and he runs himself into all kinds of trouble. And it's holding the football. So it'll be a Clarence ball just outside of defence. They move it clear from Silver, one of the inclusions today. He finds a teammate on the far wing. They go back inside. A little dinky ball. Sells Chambers into a bit of strife, but he's good enough to pick it up. Finds Fisher by hands with a little step. He gets round one and finds Callanan. Tries to beat one. Hands off to his captain. Then to Keegan Wiley. A little kick inside 50 over the back. Murphy Cohen can't claim it. They'll move out through hands here, the Magpies. Banks Smith on the ball, a long kick looking for Webster, manoeuvres his opponent, illegally says the umpire. Kick taken from Weberley, shifts it out to the right, finds Palmer Hughes, a little kick in looking for Cox, bundling in was our man Blackburn, he can't pick it up. They hand it out of defence now. The Magpies, a swirling breeze coming in too is Jones, there for Cox, can't find his skipper, on hands and knees, Camrick takes away the ball for the Pies. A mover by foot. Jay Bowden claims it. He has no one in black and white in sight. All red and white inside the 50. He tries an interesting kick, but it'll be gathered. They should make their way out easily here, the Roos. Bushner, a little tumbler. Finds a teammate, a bouncing ball looking for Murphy Cohen. He looks to just deal with his opponent, but he's met with a crunching tackle. It was Liam Smith all over him like a cheap suit. It'll be a ball up here, broadcast wing at KG5.
Hot footy at the moment as it goes back up again. Siggins wins out. Chambers throws himself onto it. Can't get the footy out. He's wrapped up in a big tackle from James Webb. The umpire will ball it up again. And a bad crowd in this afternoon at the Magpies' home ground. As we said, not much on the line. Finals opponents locked in for next week. Peach won it, but Siggins was the one that got the kick away. And Liam Smith tumbled over, but he's going to get the footy still. Tucks it under his arm, gets the handball away to Butterworth. And he's eventually caught by Murphy Cohen. Roos now have the footy. And Wade Wall right in front and just offline for a minor score. So the Roos had the chance to kick their first of the game. Instead, it's the Magpies who still hold that 6-point lead.
So Mott now with the footy. Takes a bounce and moves it down the wing. Finds Gunther. He'll look in board. It's a decent kick. He'll find Matthew Joseph. Joseph wheels around. He's got Daly and Arnold to choose from. Opts for Arnold. Puts this kick just up in the air. It's a strange bit of use, but Webster should track it down. Looks to handball to a teammate. Indilga can't find him. They're away now, the Roos, through Fisher, who hits the chest of Blackburn. Coming out and present. So Michael Blackburn look to bring it inside 50, looking for the target of Siggins. Does well, works Reynolds under it, but he'll run out of tarmac to track down the footy. And it's out for a throw-in, deep in Clarence's forward 50.
Both teams have had to be pretty patient with their inside 50s because the opposition are getting numbers back on the ball. So that's why Blackburn just waited there and for Siggins to make that presentation. Unfortunately, the kick was just off target.
In it comes again, right in front of Clarence's goal. Magpies, though, couldn't get the handball away.
Free kick.
Free kick. Well done, Brownie. Too high. So a shot will go to Aidan Grace, I think. No?
Yeah.
It'll go to Aidan Grace. So it's got the hair up today.
Yeah, it's confusing me. Usually real distinguishing features.
Yeah, normally the flowing locks, but
It's gone for the man bun setup.
let's go have a look at Twinkle Toes now. And we love this run up, Brownie. Have a look at it. A little short one today. And he has kicked a beauty. So Aidan Grace kicks Clarence's first of the afternoon. And the game is all square at 1-1-7 apiece.
Yeah, just an errant tackle there for Glenorchy, and Grace in the right time and place and was able to convert. He's an important player, Damo, for them. He's actually lost a bit of form in the back half of the year, but when he's up and running, he's certainly in their best 18, and what he does give them is versatility. We've seen him play down back on an opposition key forward. We've seen him roll up onto the wing at times and often playing as that mid-sized forward, which I think he's probably best suited to in this team, and he's able to get on the scoreboard today for Clarence.
So back in the middle. 1-1-7 apiece. Wade Ball has it to himself, and in fairness, he was up against Mitch Rainbird. In comes Roberts for Clarence. A little tumble punt, and it's made to look beautiful by Ian Cullinan. Wastes no time, puts it on the boot. That's a shocker. Mott by hands. Feeds Smith. His kick out onto the wing will be tracked down by Jay Bowden. With a couple of bites of the cherry, picks it up, navigates his way around one route, puts it into the middle. It's a good kick to find Banks Smith. He gets it on the boot. Deep is Tyler Bowden, I think. No, it's punched clear. I think it's actually Rowbottom as Fisher tries to track it down for the Roos. And it runs out of play, so it'll be thrown in, approaching the forward 50 for the Magpies.
Bit of breeze about at the moment.
Geez, the boundary umpire's a long way in, boys.
He is.
It's extraordinary.
That is extraordinary. And why is that, Brownie? We'll find out. It just makes the distance too, as we see I can't believe that. The ball's gone to ground. Umpire will ball it up. Is that because of the wind or what?
I would say so.
Or a
Yeah, but it is
junior-
in a good 10 or 15 metres there. They always have to throw it back into the centre of the ground traditionally. Breno, I'm told.
Up we go again. Wade Wall wins the tap against Rainbird. Butterworth umpire's blowing the whistle for a throw. So free kick will go the way of the Roos. Not a heap on offer at the moment.
I just reckon Jordan Roberts' hands in the footy at the moment, Damo. I think he, potentially he's a bit of a wild card for the Roos coming into the finals. Like he's been injured, as we know, a horrific run, but his best footy going back a couple of years ago was really good.
It was electric, wasn't it? As Palmer Hughes is tackled. It'll be a Josh Arnold ball. Centre wing for the Magpies. He goes back to Reynolds. Reynolds not a lot offering on. He might have to just chip it down the wing. He opts inside. An interesting kick. He'll find Farrow. Farrow into the middle. Josh Arnold keen to get it moving. Hands over the top. They don't meet their target. Blackburn claims it, and he is claimed in a tackle. Will be a ball up inside the centre square here at KG5. 1-1 apiece.
Mentioned Blackburn there, Gil, in the headlines this week following the stream last weekend.
In fairness, it was an absolute Barry Crocker what he dished up. His work in front of goal was a disgrace, and he was called out, and then he called out the commentary team, and Chris Rowbottom went one-on-one in the kick-off. I'm sure you've seen it online.
I think everyone has, looking at the hits.
As Harry Pearce hands it off, receives it back, a little candy, hands it over the top. Daly might just eye his second. He goes the handball, doesn't hit the target, meets Gabby Chambers, finds Webberley. Illegally, says the umpire, and it'll be a shot at goal for Glenorchy. It'll be James Webb to have a look at things. But yes, Michael Blackburn went toe-to-toe with Chris Rowbottom, and Stixie Blackburn got on top. Mind you, I still don't think his problems have been fixed.
We'll find out this afternoon, hopefully.
James Webb lines up, looking to put through the Magpies second off the left. It's coming, but not far enough. Offline to the left.
Yeah, both teams with opportunities early in this game. One there from Webb, and also Wade Wall had a chance early on in this quarter.
So Jake Cox out of defence, a pinpoint ball. Finds Harper. Hands it off to Bushner. Sells himself into a bit of trouble. Isn't quite brought down. Keegan Wadley there to help out. A long kick out onto the wing. Siggins will try and gather. Can't quite collect the footy. He follows up his work with a tackle. Brings it to a screeching halt. Centre wing. Ball up.
Pretty important players, Blackburn and Harper, for Clarence, I would have thought, boys. They just, they're the connectors, almost like Lynch at Adelaide, just to connect from your back half into your forward line. Often lead up on the logos and do a really good job for their team, just on cue right now.
Harper takes the mark for the Clarence, plays on quickly. And looks like the 50-metre penalty's being paid here. So we'll try and work out what that was for. So it's the Magpies leading this one by a single point at the moment. And the kick will happen from about 15-20 metres out. So you'd think this one will go straight through the middle. And umpire does not move, so Clarence get their second of the afternoon for a 50-metre penalty.
Yeah, not sure what it was for. I know Tim Butterworth was quite animated with the umpire, not suggesting it was him, but he was certainly in the vicinity, and there's some discussions going on now with the Glenorchy back half. So, look, they're costly, aren't they? Because there was no chance that he was going to kick the goal from where he was, but all of a sudden a 50-metre penalty and the Roos get their second. Both teams just feeling each other out at the moment, I would have thought, boys.
Yeah, it hasn't been pretty football. Prettier than the scoreline I just checked from the AFL. I'm happy I'm here, boys, as the ball's up. Peach v. Wall. Wall gets hands on it, but not decisive. Dilger scraps out a kick, but finds the opposing captain in Jones. Hands off to Wiley. Out onto the wing. It's a bouncing ball gathered by Mott. He finds a teammate in Butterworth. A nudgy little kick finds Webster inside, tries to pinpoint one with a little spear. Coming in with a tackle is Gunther. They're still trying to get it moving, the Magpies, but they're brought down. through a Chambers tackle. Approaching 50, so it'll be a Clarence ball. Out of defence, they move it. Not moving too far. It's Michael Fisher receives a free kick.
It's good last week, Fisher, Damo. Thought he was in the best 3 or 4 players for Clarence.
Thought he was very good. His kick doesn't meet its target. They try and gather it. It's holding the ball. Out on the far side here at KG5, not happy at all. Tumble punt comes in. It's a high one. Gunther tries to lay claim to it. It's fisted away. Picked up by Rainbird. Tries to sprawl out a handball. Bushner bursts. A long kick looking for Blackburn. He'll try and track down the ball. He's in a foot race with Reynolds. Reynolds to it first. Hands it off. Finds Smith. He looks out onto the left side looking for Bowden. Can't quite find him. Jones with a timely intervention. Handed back by Webster. Mott with a kick. A good one. Banks Smith turns and burns. Looks to kick it to the paint of 50. It's cut off and cut off well by Silver. Hands it out to a teammate in Castle. Castle can't quite find his target as it's taken by Butterworth. His hand sells a teammate into all sorts of trouble and is holding the ball.
So approaching time on here in the first quarter of this final round clash at KG5. Clarence have the footy. The half back line. Short little kick. Lands on the chest of Jake Cox. Great to see him back playing TSL footy after an interrupted season. Not much doing for him, so he decides to go backwards. Finds Roberts. He plays on pretty quickly inside the centre square. Dangerous kick. Fisher tries to dodge the tackle. Ball to ground. And the umpire will ball it up.
There's a good tackle from Rowbottom on that occasion because Clarence were hoping to break through the corridor there and have a foray into the inside 50. So some really good defensive pressure from both teams.
Up it goes again. Peach one out that time. Cox is in there for Clarence, but the ball going absolutely nowhere. And we'll have another ball up.
Scrappy footy, boys, and I think from our vantage point, perhaps it's the conditions are a little bit more blustery than perhaps we might be giving credit for, because lots of players actually falling over and miss targets as teams try to bite off a kick inside 50.
Peach wins the hit out, but it's Clarence that come out with it. Cox off the outside of the boot just tumbles it Clarence's way, looking for Weberly. Unfortunately for everyone, it runs out of play, so it'll be thrown in. You're right, it is very blustery here at KG5 today. The wind causing all sorts of havoc. Really howling through. And the ball to be thrown back in. It'll be Peach and Wall. Wall first to it, gathers his own footy. Gets out a kick, bouncing towards 50. Blackburn gathers, hands over the top. Callanan just taps it inboard. The Pies grab it for a second, but not for long. Ling tries to find Weberly. He does well in traffic. Outside, he finds Chambers, who runs into trouble, but luckily for Chambers, he cops one high, and he'll have a look at goal.
Massive fan of Chambers, boys. I think he just does such an honest job each and every week for Clarence. Often sacrifices his own game. He's been freed up a little bit over the last couple of weeks and spent some time outside of the centre square, but often locks down on the opposition's best midfielder.
So in comes Chambers. About 35-40 out. Takes his kick, holds up in the wind a bit, and it's offline. Never looked like going through the big sticks. Out on the full.
Yeah, and if we had a windsock here at KG5,
it'd be doing a bit. It's fair
it'd be
to
doing
say,
a real
Bruno.
lot at the moment. As Glenorchy bring it back in. A long kick right up the guts. And the mark taken. Joseph, late inclusion this afternoon, of course, for Josh Watts, who was injured in the warm-up, as we heard earlier. Ball to the wing right in front of us here in the commentary box. The mark couldn't be taken. Aiden Grace lands the footy. It's the handball away. Palmer Hughes right on the paint of 50. Pack forms, punched away. Here's Murphy Cohen. Cheeky little kick around the corner to Callanan. Callanan directly in front, and he sprayed it.
I've never, ever seen him do
He
that.
sprayed the footy. Well, you haven't, have you, Brownie?
No, look, 999 times out of 1,000 he would kick that goal. So a massive let-off there for the Pies. It was an interesting defensive spoil from Reynolds because it came back into the corridor and it was a smart kick from Murphy Cohen. who saw Callan running into space. Not great footy, it's fair to say, at the moment, boys.
No, it's not, as Callanan smothers a kick in from Arnold, and it'll be thrown in. Forward 50 for the Roos. Yeah, you don't see that too often from Ian Callanan. Such a pro. So clean with the footy usually as it's thrown in. Reynolds and Murphy Cohen. Over the back it goes. No one can really gather the hot footy. It might just spool out of the back of this pack. Reynolds comes in to make sure it doesn't. And it's holding the ball. I'm interested to see who against. So it'll be a Glenorchy ball. Mott gets a kick outside 50. Looking for Banks Smith. He can't gather, but Jay Bowden's there to mop up. Gets by one. Hands it off to Banks Smith. Does well in traffic. Gets it moving. Kick out looking for Gunther. He can't gather. Wiley takes the ball for the Roos and moves it back the other way. A good kick onto the chest of Blackburn. He'll just steady the ship. Go inboard. Finds Grace. Hands it off. Eager to get it moving. Cox now. A little kick looking to the edge of 50. Can't be gathered by Murphy Cohen. Picked up by Chambers. Cox eyes goal. And he's kicked it. Beautiful goal from Cox. That was all him. He started the play and he finished it off. And the Roos edge ahead here at KG5.
Look, it was terrific play, probably the highlight of the game so far. As you said, Damo, he actually started inside the back half for the Roos, and he was able to push forward, receive the ball back and kick a really smart snap around the body. And probably the Roos have been the better team at the moment, obviously 2 goals in front, but they did well up against his old team. I'm pretty sure he would have played in that 2007 Premiership team as well for Glenorchy, the Premiership reunion, I would have thought, Jake Cox boys.
Back in the middle, approaching quarter time. Up we go again. Here's Rainbird. Big kick out of the middle. Big torp inside 50. Tyler Bowden was there. Couldn't take the mark. Glenorchy player swings around on the body. No one could take it still. But a little snap now around the body and just offline to the left for a minor score.
Different role for Zach Bush. We saw him playing forward and up on the wing last week. Traditionally plays forward for Clarence, but he's down back today.
Ball back in. Marked by Palmer Hughes, who goes to the far side of the ground. So as we mentioned, the wind quite heavy here at KG5 at the moment as the ball goes and hugs the boundary line and punched over for a boundary throw in.
I mean, what it does create, boys, today, though, is, as we know, some key outs for both teams, but some players that haven't played a lot of senior footy, and who knows what will come out of this game, and they've got a real opportunity to play some finals footy if they give a good account of themselves.
Wind howling through here at KG5, thrown back in. Peach and Siggins. Siggins gets hands on it, but not decisively. Mops up though, finds Palmer Hughes, puts it on the boot, cut off by Smith. Harper tries to gather. Bundling in was Grace. Didn't take the footy. Jones does. Finds Callanan. Callanan by foot over the back. It's all Blackburn. I think he might have got hands to it. And it rolls on through off the woodwork. See, I tell you what, that should have been a certain goal for the Roos.
Yeah, they've had a couple of half chances, haven't they? Well, better than half, I would have thought. That could have put them further in front.
Bowden kicks it back in for Glenorchy, but it is the Roos that have the footy back. Chance now at another goal, but just falls short, obviously, and the siren beats them anyway. So it's the Roos holding a 2-goal lead at quarter time. Clarence 3-3-21, Glenorchy 1-3-9.
Really interested to see how much of a factor that breeze is and what sort of advantage it is giving to the Clarence Roos at this point. But they're on top here at KG5. A scrappy affair between two teams not at their top yet. Of course, got bigger fish to fry with finals coming. But it's the Roos 3-3-21, Magpies 1-3-9. Goal kickers, Brownie.
I haven't got him, Damo, actually, but I know that
I've got
Jake
him.
Cox,
Luckily, I've
one.
got him.
Aiden Grace.
Aiden Grace with one, Jared Harper with one, and Jake Cox with one for the Roos. For Glenorchy, it's Callan Daly. So that's quarter time here at KG5. We'll have a brief break and be back for the second. So back in the middle for the second term here from KG5. The Roos with the advantage, 2-goal advantage at this point. We're about to get things underway. Wind really having an influence here, boys. Howling on through.
Certainly is. Up it goes again to get the second quarter underway here at KG5. Siggins, a very high ball out of the middle. And mark couldn't be taken. Ends up in the hands of the Roos. Dragged down. Smith with a big tackle. Umpire will ball it up. He said not a bad crowd in this afternoon, saying there's not a lot on the line in this game. Siggins and Peach go at it again. Siggins wins it. Ends up with the Magpies, but the Roos get it back. All not going far though. Rainbird with a cheeky little handball out. And now Banks Smith gets the kick away and drives it towards Glenorchy's attacking end of the ground. Bushner. Handball didn't go far. In fact, the advantage is paid. Bowden inside 50. And umpire's blown the whistle. He might have been held on to. He was. So Jay Bowden will get the free kick just outside the 50-metre line.
Ben Reynolds swung forward, boys, for the Pies for this quarter.
High ball, pack forms, Rainbird. Couldn't hang on to it. But the kick is not a good one by the Magpies and out of bounds on the full. Would have been a ripping mark if Mitchie Rainbird hung on to that.
Just couldn't quite bring it down, could he? So the ball to be brought back in through Michael Fisher. An undermanned Clarence defence today. Zach Bushner back there. Interesting, just changing things up. Wonder if we'll see more of that in finals. So Fisher down the line, a long kick, favours Reynolds of the opposition, can't bring it down. Swinger around was Mott. A kick looking for Webster. They pick it up as Rowbottom and falls to Pearce. His ball lands on the back of a teammate and is just punched out in the finish by Douglas, I think it was, and it goes out of playing for the Roos. Defensive 50 now. Wind certainly favouring that end of the ground. It comes on in. Over the back was Reynolds. Falls for the Magpies, but underneath it all is Clarence player who just got involved. Met by a couple of players in black and white. It'll be rinse and repeat.
So it is Clarence by 2 goals early in this second quarter. Up we go again. Siggins taps it down. And now the Roos are away. But not a lot on offer further afield. Blackburn, it goes over his head and bounces out for a boundary throw-in. So the rain staying away at the moment, but the wind causing a few issues here.
Tell you what, not a pretty game this one. A tricky one to call.
We probably didn't come here thinking it was going to be a blockbuster, did we though?
No, and then the wind certainly having an impact as the howls on in, gets a hold of this throw-in, goes back the other way. We'll have to have that one again. Really howling on in. Score update from the other side of the state. We've got North Launceston, what are we on there? 4 goals straight, 24. But Launceston with the advantage, 5 goals, 1.
North Lonnie kicking straight's the story there, 4 straight.
But North Lonnie with a near full-strength team in today. Lonnie with a couple of players out, so that's very, very interesting.
Yeah, Agarnis, Lonigan and Rundle all out, I think, for Launceston.
So Agarnis as well came out.
Yep.
So there you go. Launceston, I think, will be a tricky opponent for the Magpies next week as the wind again grabs this one. Peach helps himself, sock it off the ground. It's Cox, gathers his footy, keeps it moving along the deck. He'll try and pick it up again, but unfortunately it's out of play. So it'll be yet another throw in.
Aaron Cornelius is probably Launceston's biggest fan. So, yeah, he rates him really highly, speaking to him throughout the year. So it is going to be a cracker next Saturday. And it comes again. Siggins gets the footy all to himself. He kicks it straight away. Inside 50. Good, strong mark. Taken by Jordan Arnold. Former league rising star winner, of course. Might get your thoughts on that in a minute. Brownie, who might be in contention this year. That'll be announced pretty soon. Near the Roos, though. Oh, big tackle. And the umpires let it go. Ball not going too far. Out it comes. Now Banks Smith. Little pokey kick. Mark taken by Rowbottom. He goes across, switches play to Rainbird. Has a bounce. And goes long, inside 50. Mark couldn't be taken by Bowden. He's still there though. There's a number of Clarence players. The Roos get it out. Big tackle by Tyler Bowden in the end. And the umpire will ball it up. Got a rising star tip for us, Brownie?
I'll have to think about that one, Brent. Take that one on notice. Lots of, in terms of pivotal players for both teams today, with the kicking of the footy becomes really important in blustery conditions. So people like Cox, Bowden, Smith for Glenorchy, Callanan, they can pierce through this wind really effectively. So you just want the ball in their hands if you can.
Very good call that, Brownie. As they try and bring it out of defence, the Roos, and the wind takes it out of play, out on the full. So we might see a bit of that throughout the afternoon. It'll be brought back in for the Magpies. A little kick over the top finds Rainbird. Takes it out, stretched arms.
Got a bit of a way to go till we see a ball spinning backwards like we did in that AFL game at Tunstead Arena a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Kick back inside, finds its target, and it's Butterworth who gets it moving, finds Josh Arnold. He wanted Smith, but that wasn't on. The second option in Mott was closed down. In the end, he finds Jordan Arnold on the broadcast wing. Arnold, a little one, an easy kick for Daly. Pocket rocket goes down the wing. He's got Webster all on his own. In the end, he's closed down by Castle, and his kick, Webster, superb by foot. And this time was no exception. Finds Tyler Bowden, who will line up for the first of the second term.
They probably need some reward for their effort on the scoreboard here. So he gets a good chance at it here, Tyler Bowden, and he's a pretty good set shot for goal normally. We've seen him kick multiple goals at senior level. Has spent some time in the lower leagues this season, but gets a real opportunity here.
So Tyler Bowden crosses the paint of 50. Will take a decent kick with a howling breeze. He leaves it out to the right, and that's where it finishes up, out on the full.
Roos quickly bring it back in, but going to come back. So still 2 goals the margin. Only the 4 kicked for the game so far. So goals have been few and far between. Here it comes. Short kick. Safe kick. Mark taken. Play it along the line, hug the boundary. The Roos pack form. Siggins.
It's a good mark, that one.
Great mark.
And we all know your affinity for Sammy Siggins. You're a big fan, Brent Costello.
Love Siggo's work.
Thoughts on that kick?
Not his best. Umpire says play on, but the ball's not travelling anywhere, and we'll have another ball up.
So the wind absolutely causing havoc here at KG5. Far from a classic as the ball's thrown up in the air. Peach and Siggins. Peach got the tap out the back, and it's Daly bursting through. The little fella gets it over the back looking for Tyler Bowden. He comes late.
He did that well, Wiley. He was the +1 behind the footy and just waited and waited to see where the kick was going, and then just manoeuvred himself into the right position.
He's
much improved player.
Oh, he's been a real asset for the Roos this year. His kick comes outside 50, looking for Grace. He can't gather it, tumbles its way out to Siggins. Gets it on the boot. Bouncing ball should be gathered. And it's gathered well. In the end, it's just slapped on the boot, but straight to the Roos. Cox by hand. Finds a teammate who then finds Chambers. It's an ugly kick off the boot to Roberts. He'll look to gather, but can't bring it under his spell. It bounces out of play.
Gee, that's a disappointing inside 50 because running into space with Jared Harper, not sure whether he was spotted by his teammate there, but a real opportunity gone begging there for the Blues. And it came on the back of Harrison Gunther, probably just running with the footy there, and he hasn't got electric speed, and so it caused a turnover there for the Roos.
Ball back in play in front of Clarence's goals, but again juggled over the boundary line for another boundary throw-in. Liking what we've seen of Callan Daly, the Savo, Brownie. He's, Damo called him a pocket rocket. I haven't seen a lot of him this year, but energetic sort of young player, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's
as the ball's kicked out of play. It was an ugly old kick, but found Jay Bowden. He uses his space well to find his brother, who picks it up on the hop, gives it back to Jay, hands it off to Rainbird, kicks it out, looking for Reynolds. He can't gather the mark.
Well done,
just
Bushner.
hacks a kick out. Tyler Bowden following up, hands it over, looking for Banks Smith, finds Reynolds. Not his best handball, can't find Webster, but Castle in late and holding, so it'll be a Zach Webster kick. Just outside 50 here. Generally lethal by foot is Zach Webster, former Hawthorn listed player.
Just going to have to think his way through it because Clarence have got numbers back behind the footy.
So
Fancies himself from here.
he does indeed. You have to get the journey from just beyond 50. Zach Webster gets nice purchase on the kick, but it's just out to the left. A minor score for the Magpies.
You can see the importance of Zach Bushner for Clarence, whether or not he's back or forward. He can be a frustrating player at times, but he has got powerful speed and agility and can kick it well. You just need him to be more consistent and competitive, and you've got a really good product for the Roos.
The Roos are away then, but the ball intercepted. Still have it though, the red and white, but taken high now and a free kick going the way of Jared Harper. Bit going on between Sammy Siggins and Mitch Rainbird. That's what we like to see. So Harper goes to his skipper in Brady Jones. Just slows things up, not a lot happening for him. Goes short again and finds Aiden Grace. He goes backwards. Now the Roos decide to switch play. They do just that. The kick's a horrible one though, and Zach Webster's there for Glenorchy. He kicks it off the ground. A high ball inside 50. Tyler Bowden takes the mark, runs in and kicks the easiest of goals. And this one is back to 5 points.
Yeah, it was a horrific turnover from Zach Bushner, I think, wasn't it? By foot there, boys. And that's where he, I guess, can polarise you if you're a Clarence player or supporter or a coach, because he has such athleticism. And look, it was a really untidy kick. And in a low-scoring game, you just can't afford to give it back to the opposition like that. And all of a sudden, we're back to a 5-point ball game. Disappointing for Clarence because we mentioned before they had a real opportunity going inside 50 when Harper wasn't spotted.
Exactly right, Cam. Considering, I guess, the positional dominance of Glenorchy so far in this one, it's been mainly in their half of the ground as this one's thrown back up again. Peach with good hands finds Webb. A ball straight inside 50. Bounces over the top. It's gathered by Reynolds. He has Pearce as a runner. Pearce on the boot. The kick leaves a lot to be desired. Out on the full. So that was a real golden opportunity for Magpies. They moved forward in haste, and you just thought they could have banged on another one and taken the lead, Brownie.
And look, we're shaping up. Just the first goal of that quarter, wasn't it? 13-minute mark. So, again, we're looking for a short quarter here. I would have thought, boys, going around 24, 25 minutes.
13 minutes gone so far. It's the Magpies again. They're inside 50. It's a massive kick from outside 50. Beg your pardon. And a minor score. So, Glenorchy really attacking in these last couple of minutes. The Roos have to try and muster something here and bring it in again. They do just that. Travels to a big pack. No one could take it. Wade Wall's there. He's held up with the footy though. Reynolds and Butterworth bring him to ground. Have the ball up. Up it goes. Wade Wall and Peach. And now Brady Jones gets the handball out. Webberley sees it over the line. Boundary throw-in.
That's probably what Clarence have got to do at the moment. Just try and shovel it forward as best they can, and hopefully try and get them on the break. That's where they probably miss a player like Trent Standard being able to run into that inside 50.
So swatted down by Wall. It's there for Jones. He doesn't get hands out. No free kick coming. Finds a teammate. He's pinged holding the ball. Didn't make enough of an attempt there, did Ling. It's taken by Mott. Sells some candy. This way, that way. Goes out onto the right. Finds Smith. He measures a kick inside 50. It's a good one for Reynolds, who takes a strong mark. Beautiful use inside 50 and a great clunk from Benny Reynolds.
We saw him start the first quarter down back and has moved forward, being picked up by Zach Bushner at the moment, and he just was a good presentation to get up and take that mark. Bushner's gone down after that and seemed to grab his ankle. A little bit of pain there, but they're an important kick now for Ben Reynolds.
So an important kick, one that will give Glenorchy the advantage here. 15 gone in the second term. Wandering in is Ben Reynolds. He splits the middle. Ben Reynolds on the board, and the Magpies take the lead here at KG5.
Well, there you go. It's been all Glenorchy this last 5 or so minutes, hasn't it? 2-point lead now. And as you said, Brownie, a fairly short quarter coming up. 15.5 minutes gone so far. Ace Cornelius will be pretty happy with it at the moment.
Yeah, well, he would be. It's a bit of an arm wrestle at the moment, and as we see Glenorchy with the last 2 goals, it gives them a 2-point lead. So just interesting to see whether Clarence will do anything from a positional point of view, whether or not you throw Siggins forward and give Wall some time in the ruck. We know it can be a difficult matchup when he does spend some time up there, Sam Siggins.
Both Peach and Siggins in the ruck. The free kick going to Glenorchy. Here's Mott now. Big high floating ball. And inside 50. Magpies attack again.
He had to go 2 hands, Bushner.
Now Clarence out of danger. Palmer Hughes, Webberley back. Now they're up the wing here. Murphy Cullen, big punch from behind from Gunther, and the ball out of bounds.
Well, it's a different role for Harrison Gunther. We're used to him playing that, sort of third tall and can hit up at the ball carry and normally, do some work outside 50 and roll back into that area of the ground. But it's good education for him, I guess, to be down back today.
Thrown on in, a fist from Peach, directed to Daly, finds Camerick, just has to scramble out a kick, looking for Rowbottom, punched on by Webster. He'll look to gather himself. He's worked under it by Castle, picked up by Fisher, not the best off his left boot, but he should find a teammate, and that teammate's Gall. He brings himself unstuck, picked up by Jay Bowden. Mott inside 50, Tyler Bowden can't quite take the grab, and it's punch clear and out for a throw-in. Pies forward 50. They hold a 2-point advantage here as old foes go toe-to-toe in the last round of the TSL season.
Here it comes again. And all his attacking end of KG5. Jones right in the thick of it, bottom of the pack for Clarence. Umpire says play on. Rainbird though has other ideas and wraps up his opponent, and the ball will be bounced or thrown up.
It's only a 2-point game, but you just sense Glenorchy getting on top here in the last 10 or so minutes and have an opportunity for them to go in with a handy break potentially at half time.
A lot of stoppages, boys. It's been a scrappy old affair. The wind, as we know, playing its part. Thrown in once again inside Glenorchy's forward 50. As you said, you just sense they're on top at the moment. They haven't really stacked that onto the scoreboard just yet. It's thrown on in. The wind takes a bit off the throw. Tyler Bowden gets it out, and it's thrown on the boot. A scrambled old kick, and it's not a bad one at all. It's a goal from Brody Rowbottom. He just threw it on the boot.
Bit going on here now.
And I think the wind did the rest.
Look at this.
They're into each other. I tell you what, you would not want to be silly. Last round of the season.
Well, that's just a goal out of nothing, wasn't it? Just he found some space at the stoppage and screwed around the corner. And he's an interesting matchup for opposition teams, Rowbottom. We've seen him push forward and kick some goals as a different player inside that forward 50. A couple of weeks ago, we saw him here. Damo do pretty well, and all of a sudden the Pies are out to an 8-point game. So we need a response here from a Clarence perspective.
We do indeed. Rowbottom, I think he just got a kick out. I don't really know he knew too much about that one. It's Peach. Hands it down, but it goes straight to the opposing ruckman in Siggins. A kick inside 50 will be caught by Jordan Arnold. He's a wise defender, is Arnold. Moves it outside 50, finds a teammate in Rainbird. Takes a strong chest mark. His little kicks in between a couple of Magpies. Can't quite find Rowbottom. Castle with hands out. He'll find Silver, tries to get through a couple, does well to Silver. He keeps on moving, gets a free kick, but advantage paid. Smith takes the mark in defence for the Magpies, and they might counter punch here.
Great
onto
kick.
the outer wing, finds Camerick. Measures a kick and finds Jay Bowden. Wheels around and gets moving. Hands inboard for Mott. Lethal by foot on most occasions. Keeps it moving with hands, looking for Camerick, and he's dealt with afterwards. So it'll be a downfield free kick.
Boys, you saw the skills of Liam Smith there by foot. We mentioned his kicking, and even going back at Mariners level a couple of years ago, he was certainly the best kick in that particular team. And you know when he's down back, and the way footy's played these days, your half-backs and your kickers and distributors of the footy are really important. So I like that move of him down half-back.
Jay Bowden down at his haunches behind play, boys, and still there's a bit going on behind the scenes. As the ball is in right in the pocket, and Benny Reynolds will get the kick here. Really tough angle. Let's see how he goes about it. So Benny Reynolds back in this team, of course, halfway through the season. The Premiership superstar. Unlucky not to be best on ground in that grand final last year. Can he put the Magpies further in front? The kick has gone across the face and through for a minor score. So we're into time on now in this second quarter. Not too much longer left in this half of football as the ball comes back into play and punched away for another boundary throw in.
It's been an ugly half, it's fair to say.
Well, they've not sure the inside 50 count for the Roos, but they haven't had a lot, particularly in the last 15 minutes. It's been pretty much played in the front half of Glenorchy's area of the ground. So you'd think some time still for them to get some inside 50 entries and some scoreboard pressure
Ball
here.
comes in, Wall gathers. It comes out the back. It's just worked inside 50. Over the back was Jay Bowden, and it's not gathered. Taken by Keegan Wiley's kick.
That's a
is
kick
long.
that's hurting the Roos at the moment, Damo. We've seen a couple of those from where players are breaking away from the back half, but there's been turnovers.
Talking about kicks that hurt you, Dilger sends his team into all sorts of trouble and he gives it to the wrong man. Callanan finds Grace.
I just can't understand why you would kick from there. He had an opportunity to take another bounce.
He could have set up a picnic inside the square, Cam Brown. He just had to wander on in.
I don't understand
He's
that.
missed it. It's a shocker as play keeps going. Webb on the far side finds Jay Bowden. Can the Pies make them pay? Inboard, finds Daly. He's got a runner in Rainbird, ignores that and opts to go to Reynolds, and why not the way he's presenting. He's an eager beaver inside. Finds a man in Joseph.
Now, how costly is that?
Yes,
and we don't want to be too hard on Aiden Grace, but he had an opportunity there to take another bounce. Elected to kick it from, probably 20 metres out. Could have almost got to the goal square. And in modern footy, turnover, away you go. I don't think Clarence almost touched it from the kick out, and now an opportunity for Matty Joseph. And it's going to be a big 2-goal turnaround right on the stroke of half time.
Such a game of momentum, and it's something like that that really zaps you, I reckon. So Joseph lining up, 30 odd out, takes his kick, doesn't quite get it right, and it's off to the left.
Feeling a lot better now, Aiden Grace.
Absolutely.
But they've had two like that now, Brownie.
They have.
You have a few more and it can really hurt. As the kick's taken by Wiley, he finds he's targeting Fisher.
It's interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing Fisher forward in the second half, boys. He can, certainly going back to North Hobart.
Absolutely.
He was a half forward who could kick goals.
Don't mind it, Brownie, as we see. Oh, big tackle taken way too high. Brody Rowbottom now will get the free kick.
I just think he's probably going to play down back in the final,
Yeah.
but just to throw something different, give
Don't mind
Glenorchy something different to look at, and we know he's pretty comfortable in that area of the ground.
Not bad to have the wild card up your sleeve as well, isn't it, Brown?
That's right.
So Brody Rowbottom, right behind this one. Can he put the Magpies further in front on the stroke of half time? Well, no, he can't. That is not his best work, and out of bounds on the foot.
Strange approach, wasn't it?
Didn't look convincing at all,
Almost
did it?
foreign to him.
I'm just going to leave that one alone, I think. So, Cox with the footy in hand.
Drifted out of the game a little bit, Jake Cox, and look, they rely very heavily on him because he's blistering speed and ball use.
Puts this one up and it's hoping someone to get to it. Unfortunately, it's in black and white. It's Banks Smith, and his kick is a great one for Webster. He gets an ear massage late. He'll line up.
Good play, wasn't it, from Ryan Banksmith to take the mark and just wheel and go for a young player who we know will play a lot of Mariners footy next season. So a really smart inside 50, lowered his eyes and was able to spot up an experienced player in Zach Webster who will get another look at it from a little bit closer in this time.
His last kick was from beyond the arc. This one, a more comfortable range. And he puts it through. Zach Webster on the board, and the Magpies surge ahead here at KG5. They're on top. The black and white army.
Well, I'll be interested to see Clarence's response because it's been all Glenorchy in the second quarter. Clarence certainly had some chances, having said that, inside 50, but they've butchered them. And it's proved costly. But we know Clarence next week against Lauderdale. They know who they'll be playing. Lauderdale with the week's break. But just interested to see how they go about it in the second half, how they'll line up, their attitude, how they'll respond, because Glenorchy are going to go in with a handy lead at half-time.
Expect Darren Winter will be here watching somewhere today, boys.
No doubt, an eager eye on next week. Probably hoping a few of those melees break out a little bit more as Clarence do their best to come out of traffic. Tackle coming from Webb. A pack forms and it'll be a ball up, edge of the square.
So can't be long left in this second quarter. Glenorchy with a 15-point advantage. Here we go. Doesn't go too far though. Again, very stop-start game this afternoon. What do you think both coaches will have to say at half-time, Brownie? Obviously,
well, I think Aaron Cornelius would be pretty happy, certainly with the effort of his players and in particular some of the ball use in inside 50. But Clarence is another chance for them here.
They go inside 50. Nobody can collect the footy though. Jordan Arnold dives on top of it. And Callanan on his back straight away. And a ball up.
I think what would be disappoint Jeremy Webley is some of the decision makings, particularly in inside 50, and just a little bit of poise around the footy where players had some more time to do some more damage on the scoreboard, because this game should be a lot closer than it is.
So Tyler Bowden and Wade Ball in that ruck contest, and the ball wrapped up again. The umpire says I'll have that, thanks.
So a 15-point advantage right on the shadows of half-time. Up it goes, fisted down.
Ooh,
It's
smothered.
a blocked kick from Mott. They try and just hold it up here to the Magpies. Out the back was Webb, did well. Got round one and got it on the boot. Fisher over the back, a good fist. Silver will gather. He's got one to beat. He shoves him aside, but unfortunately runs it out of play. It'll be a throw-in on the far side here at KG5. 15-point advantage for the Magpies. They've had the better of this one. This term in particular, the wind blowing significantly to the left of screen. Comes on in, Peach over the back, but it's all Clarence. Webley tries to get a kick out. It falls for Harper. He's gathered in a tackle. Going absolutely nowhere. It'll be a ball up on the paint of 50. Clarence looking to salvage something late in this term.
And players like Gall, Silver, Douglas, they've got Murphy Cohen's another one. They've got an opportunity to put their name up in the second half and get a game of finals footy next week. So it's important for their perspective individually that they have a really a good second half.
Half-time here at KG5. The Glenorchy Magpies 5-7-37 lead the Clarence Roos 3-4-22. It's been a scratchy old ball game, but it's a strong advantage for the Magpies at this point in time, a week out from finals. Goal kickers, Brownie, I'm not sure you've kept up to date with these ones. I'll go through them. Glenorchy, Zach Webster, Ben Reynolds, Brodie Rowbottom, Tyler Bowden, Callan Daly kicking the majors for the Magpies. While for Clarence, they did not kick a goal in that term, but their goals coming through Aidan Grace, Jared Harper and Jake Cox. So they're the goal kickers to half-time. A bit of a scrappy old arm wrestle this one, but Glenorchy on top. How have you seen it, Brownie?
Well, in the end, Glenorchy going with a handy lead, 15 points in a low-scoring game when we've only had 8 goals scored to half-time. So, it's probably almost in the conditions of 4 or 5 goal lead. So Clarence will get their opportunities with the win in the third quarter, but they just have to be better with their inside 50 ball use and their decision making, because we've mentioned a few times in the call, but they did have some opportunities in the second quarter which they'd be really disappointed with, because they were, in particular one of Grace. We saw that Harper had another opportunity, one or two others, and well, not so much Harper had the opportunity, but he was missed when he was free inside 50, and that would have gave the game a lot closer than it is at the moment. So I like the way the Pies went about it. They just started to grind their way into probably the last 15 minutes of that quarter, got it played on their terms, and were able to get on the scoreboard. And I was just able to hit targets a little bit more, had a little bit more poise for mine with the footy, Damo. That's probably the difference in the two teams at the moment.
Yeah, you spoke about a few of those guys in the Clarence lineup today. Of course, fair few stars out, but they've got an opportunity, don't they, Brownie? Likes of, well, there was 5 ins, I think. So you've got Roberts, Murphy, Cohen, Silver and Gould. You spoke about them a little bit, but they've got a second half here to try and lay claim to a final spot in this team.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if they do anything different in the second half, particularly the way they line up, because pretty predictable in many respects where they line up traditionally, the Roos, in terms of the back half and their forwards in the midfield. So, maybe you do something a little bit different in that forward line and throw some different players. Maybe Bushner goes forward for the start of third quarter. You might even throw Wiley there just for something different, to give Glenorchy a look at, and maybe with an eye to next week as well. You might just get something out of it from just a little individual perspective of, just a positional change, and going into next week, that's something you might be able to try.
So half-time here at KG5, a strong lead from the Magpies in a strong breeze. We'll have a brief break now and be back for the second half. Stay with us. Kicked it out. Chance here for the Roos. Shot on goal is good. And Clarence hit back once more. Fisher came busting through, got onto his left boot, sends the ball inside 50. Player went back with courage. I think it was Arnold. Gleeson emerged from it. Handball only went as far as Watts, who tried to clear 50 with a scrappy ball. Swooped upon by Webster, who does as Webster does. Goes forward to Hills. He's got no one inside 50, had to get it moving immediately to Webb. He's got an open 50 in front of him, sends the ball towards goal, and that's wonderful coast-to-coast footy from the Pies. It's bouncing back that way. Roberts will have to get back, kept it in cleverly, but he turned it straight over to Mitch Rainbird as he looked to come out of defence. Take this margin out to 28 points, pulls the trigger on his kick, sends it on its way, and it looks pretty good. Umpire had to do a little bit of work, but confirmed the goal in the end.
Even though Glenorchy have got the football back now, as Watt pumps it inside 50. Reynolds takes a great mark. He's well and truly back. Benny Reynolds has been fantastic. And now the Roos are away. Harper gets it inboard. Bushner drives it long inside 50. Grace is lurking, can't take the mark. Picked up though by Blackburn. Blackburn goes in and kicks a wonderful goal for Clarence and keeps them in touch in this contest.
Back underway in the middle of the ground, and Glenorchy will go forward again. Track it forward. Gunther's there. He just scraps the ball towards goal. Webster will fly. Couldn't gather cleanly, but it'll fall into the arms of Harry Pearce, who bends around and kicks a wonderful goal around the body. And it's all Glenorchy here at Blunston Arena. Harper just puts the ball inside 50. Grace will wait down at the back. He's unable to come up with the footage. Stanton was, though. He found a teammate who kicked around the corner. And it was a classy finish in the end. So Clarence get one back here. Moving forward in the Callan direction. He had a 3-on-1 to contend with, though. And that's just hacked off the ground beautifully. And the Clarence player in Murphy Cohen will run in and dice with death. He took Matty Dilger on and looked over his shoulder, but eventually just put it over the goal umpire's hat. Guys who were moving the footy. Here's Mott, who's been great in traffic this afternoon, as has Webb. He got a handball forward. Another chance here for Webb, who just sends another one on its way, and he's kicked his fifth. Back to Arnold. Now Butterworth has it. That's a risky old handball. Well, fell straight into the hands of Standen, and he doesn't miss those.
Still in the hands of Clarence, dangerous territory. But Glenorchy do well enough to get it out. Now here's Josh Arnold. Didn't bounce favourably for him. And the Roos have a look at goal and kick another. So they get another goal back here, the Roos.
At the year, he's had an absolutely outstanding 2017 as Clarence go forward again through Siggins. High ball, wants had his work cut out for him. Roberts swooped on the loose footy, sent a footy goal bound, and they've got another one, Clarence. So Glenorchy have fallen asleep here at Lunston Arena in the last 5 or 10 minutes. Moves onto the ground, Standen emerges with it, second half. Scrubby ball inside 50, and guess who's got it? Ian Callanan.
They can't, can they?
Ian Callanan takes an all but uncontested mark inside 50. Tell you what, kicks this, it's back to 19. Sends the footy on its way, and Ian Callanan has kicked the goal. Clarence, there couldn't be a pulse, could there? There couldn't be a pulse.
He plays on quickly as he needs to do. Grace is there, can't strip up the footy, and now it's with the Magpies. Webb goes short. Joseph in the bright orange boots. Quick handball off to Zach Webster. Webster loads up just inside 50, and it's game over at Lunston Arena. Zach Webster kicks a goal for Glenorchy, and the Pies have won it.
Round 15 TSL action coming at you live from Blunston Arena. Clarence hosting Glenorchy. Aaron might see something he likes inboard. Webb has to get on his bike. One out, a nice little handball. Genuine chance here for the Pies. Through, I think it's Webb who fires on goal and kicks the first of the game. Wonderful finish, James Webb. The Pies have their first. They skip out to a 4-point lead. Throwing inside, Reynolds was there. It was tapped down to a Clarence player. Reynolds gathered him. Rainbird emerged with the footy and the umpire called advantage. And Rainbird slams it through for the Pies' second goal.
Between two arch rivals, here's Webb again, who's been really busy in the last 5 or so minutes. Inside, Glenorchy's attacking 50. Here's Webb again, who hit the first goal of the match. He loads up right on 50. Is it going to have enough on it? It is! What a result for the Glenorchy Footy Club. James Webb kicks his second. And now Glenorchy away again. Here he is, Harry Pearce. Tucks the footy under the arm. Didn't have many places to go though. He kicks it inside 50. Reynolds is there. Has he got enough pace to get the footy? It's bounced through. That is extraordinary. What an extraordinary goal for Glenorchy. Harry Pearce.
Star of the Bev show. Bev, as Duffy wins it down again. He got it back to Pearce. Camry will feed a little handball inside, and Bag Smith has all the time in the world to kick Glenorchy's fifth. Wonderful little finish, and the Pies are running riot here at Blunston Arena. Back to Buchner, who gets things moving. Kicks to half forward, looking for Blackburn. Watts came across, couldn't take the mark. It was gathered beautifully by Ian Callanan as he finds a target inside 50, and that's a wonderful little ball to Hanslow. So Hanslow plays on immediately, sends a long ball towards goal, and that's got the journey. Clarence have their first. Wonderful finish, Tyler Hanslow, and it all came from that really nice bit of work from Ian Callanan, who was just doing what Ian Callanan tends to do. Clearing ball now for the Pies. Gleeson had to go back, but it fell into the arms of Holmes, who just sent a scrappy old ball forward, but it's effective because it's taken by Chambers. He's himself from this range, so Chambers set sail from 45. It's working back, and that's a wonderful finish, and that might just be the fire starter that Clarence need.
And eventually though, a little further down the line, I was still alive. So that side of the ground causing us a few issues here in the commentary box as Rainbird kicks it in, and it lands in the hands of Benny Reynolds, who will go back and kick on goal the second time in as many minutes. Lines up, back in the team last week. This one looks a little bit better, and Ben Reynolds kicks his first goal of the afternoon, and Glenorchy move out to a 23-point lead.
They're getting around him, boys. Great to have him back playing TSL.
Across the ground, Brady Jones is there, as is Jordan Roberts, as is Tim Castle. Gets the handball off to Roberts. It goes over his head though. Didn't judge that too well. Roberts is back in there though, and umpires by the whistle for high. And Clarence will get the free kick here. Going to load up on the right. Tell you what, it looks okay. Has it got enough on it? I think it does. Jordan Roberts kicks a goal for Clarence, a much needed one on the eve of half time. And the Roos are back to within 16 points. Reynolds does some clever work, snaps around the body, bouncing football, Fisher's there, and Glenorchy get a goal though. Well done, Mitch Hills. And they increase that lead back out now to 23 points.
Mitch Hills just broke the Michael Fisher tackle a little bit too easily, and he's let him know about it after the fact, straight into Michael Fisher, who couldn't hold on. So back in the middle here, Duffy won it down. Webb will take it out of the middle and move it forward for the Pies. Inside 50, Reynolds got back and took the mark. So Reynolds should put this one through. He'll kick from about 15 metres out, directly in front, comes in, slams it through, and the Glenorchy boys are up.
So back live here at KG5, the Magpies with a 15-point advantage into the major break. Both teams make their way back out. And Brent Costello, what do we expect from this second half of footy?
Not much skill. It was horrible in the first half. So we're expecting it. Now the rain's coming down as well as the wind. Yeah, it's going nowhere too fast, this contest. But obviously we know, and we said off the top, nothing to play for today. So it's all about tuning up for the finals, just like we're doing here in the commentary box, Brownie.
Yeah, and looking down at the Clarence forward line left of screen at the moment, boys, it's a familiar look about it. Cullen inside 50, Murphy, Cohen, Blackburn, Grace. So we'll see what happens, and they definitely need to make the most of their opportunities in the third quarter of the Roos.
Brownie wants them to spin the magnets. Siggins straight out of the ruck, onto the boot, long and strong. It's gathered by Gunther. He's brought down in a tackle. It's Jeremy Webley straight in the back of Gunther, and it'll be a free kick for the youngster. So Gunther in the back half. More accustomed to seeing off half forward. There's a bit of space to use. Uses it wisely over the back. Looking for Webster. He might just track it down. Paddles it his own way. Gets through Castle. Picks it up. Gathers. Finds Harry Pearce. Got a few roos to deal with. Finds Jordan Arnold through hands. He's met with a tackle from Chambers. Coming in is Silver. Wrapping up Pearce. Going absolutely nowhere, and it'll be another ball up. We've seen plenty of them this afternoon.
Sorry, Damo. You think if the Roos are going to get back into this game, they need a big 15-20 minutes from players like Jake Cox. It's the easiest thing to say. Sam Siggins, Callan needs to get some touches inside forward 50.
A few stars out, so you're right. The ones that are left have to pick up their work as it's a punt forward by Tyler Bowden, not gathered by Fisher. Out the back is Wiley. It's holding man, though. It'll bring the Roos undone. Be a Brody Rowbottom kick.
There wasn't much in that between Fisher and Rowbottom off the ball. Disappointing call, I would have thought, from the umpire there.
So Rowbottom, he's had an impact this afternoon. This kick is long and high and into the middle of 50, and he's superb. Hits the target, which is Mitch Rainbird out on the lead. Hit his chest with a bit of menace.
Well, he just got caught behind Timmy Castle, didn't he? And Rainbird, we saw him a couple of weeks ago, boys, kick a couple of big goals late in the game for Glenorchy against Launceston. Kick the last two of the game to get him over the line. Normally pretty good by foot from the set shot.
He's a goal kicker. Will he be on this occasion? Not quite. Offline.
So 16 points the lead now. With that behind, the rain coming down here at KG5. Horrible conditions. Here it comes. Taken by Aidan Grace in the back pocket. And 50 metres. So this will bring the Roos up into the middle of the ground. So Aidan Grace with the footy. He's going to go sideways by the look. Plenty of options behind the footy, but he decides to go for the end. It wasn't his best kick at all. And now Jordan Arnold for Glenorchy. Centres the footy to Rainbird. Good strong mark out in front. He's looking for an option. Decides to go to the closest one in Harry Pearce. He gets it inside 50 to no one. The ball bouncing. Jay Bowden's there to collect. Picks up the footy. Takes his time. Goes around. Kicks it inside the paints and dribbles out of bounds for a boundary throw in.
Just like to see Harry Pearce get hold of the footy, boys. He's been pigeonholed a lot just through injury, I think, for his footy over the last 12 months to be playing as that small forward role. But I'd like to see him get his hands on the footy and get some confidence going into the finals.
Thrown on in, Glenorchy in attack, bustling through was Castle, gets hands out, helped further by Roberts. He's been quiet. Blackburn gathers, tries to get a hand out and finds Silver. Likes the fend off to Silver. His handball is errant. It's out of play. Will be thrown back in again.
How's the cameraman over there on the other side of the ground? Simon out, cameraman under beautiful shelter over here, and there's Joel from Win News just getting smacked by all the elements over there.
And it is blustery, Bruno.
Horrible.
Mainly towards the left of screen.
You got to wonder.
Look at it there. Tyler Bowden gets hands on it. Out the back is Webb. Manages to get a kick, not much of one. Comes to Cox. He needs to get into the ball game. It's a block ball and out for another throw-in.
What's he doing over there? There's shelter everywhere around this ground, and he's standing out there in the middle of everything.
Now, we know Brownie's involved in education. I want you to look at the scoreboard, right, and just point out the mistake when you get a sec as the ball thrown in. Siggins takes it out of the ruck. Scrambles forward a kick. Wade Wall cannot gather his sockers though, and it's not a bad one at all. Blackburn and rather awful handball. Weberley gets a kick forward, finds the chest of Grace, and that's better from Clarence.
Well, it was better. It was probably their best, almost the cleanest inside 50 entry they've had for the game. So he's got to go back and kick the goal. I'm just looking at the score, Damien. You've got me there. Is it 5.836 and it should be 5.838?
The use of the apostrophe.
Oh.
And it's 50
yes,
here.
I couldn't see it from there, Damo.
So Aiden Grace.
What Brownie's done there, the 5.638. Is that what you just said? Come on, Brown.
No. You need to listen, Brent. What
So
I
in
said,
comes Grace and pops it through.
It might have said
Another one for Grace.
5.836. I can't see from here.
I
It should
apologise.
read 5.838.
That's his second, and the Roos are now just 10 points adrift.
Yeah, well, look, it's got them back into the game, and a really important goal. They needed a response early, and it came from some good ball movement, and Grace was able to find some space inside 50. Probably owed them one, boys, after in the second quarter. We know he can kick multiple goals, and he's pretty good overhead, and he needs a big second half, you think, if the Roos are going to get back into this game. Certainly needs some run and curry from the players, like a Chambers and a Kyle Palmer-Hughes.
Back underway in the middle of the ground. It's the Magpies by 10 points. Another ball up, not too far from where we had the last one. So Siggins and Peach. Peach a big tap from behind. And now the Roos have it, but again, that's holding the ball. So it's been pinged there, and now Glenorchy have the footy through Daly. It's the handball, a really short handball away to Smith, who drives it inside 50. Big clunk couldn't be taken by the Glenorchy player in front, and Bowden. Palmer-Hughes wrapped up. Now Castle, can he pick it up? He can't. He's pushed off the ball, and another boundary ball up. So bit of an exciting start to this
The
third quarter.
game with a bit more life in it, isn't it?
Yes. As opposed to the stop-start we had in the first half of footy.
As opposed to the Melbourne Demons.
How you going there, Gil?
Yeah, well, I don't like football right now. As the ball goes up, Peach and Siggins. Siggins, well on top. He took it out of the ruck, though. Should have been holding the ball. Managed to get out a kick. Picked up by Harper. Does well, energetic. It's blocked by Banks Smith. Good from the youngster. Siggins meant in a Magpie sandwich, and he's thrown it. So it'll be a Magpie ball. Their intent and energy has been good to start this third stanza. So it's Banks Smith, the youngster, hugging the boundary. Good kick inside 50. Reynolds runs and jumps at it. Can't take the mark. Bushner tries to bustle his way through. Can't. Cox picks it up. Scrubs out a kick. Banks Smith tries to keep it alive and can't. Be thrown in again. So just 10 points in it here at KG5. Magpies with the advantage on their home surface. Usually a fortress. They've lost quite a few times here this season. I think they lost 3 in a row, didn't they?
They did.
Come in, over the back. Siggins just wrestles his opponent and takes an easy grab. Punts it forward. Gunther leading the foot race. Wade Wall with a good tackle. Waiting for the cavalry to arrive. Finds Callanan. Callanan tries to just get rid of Arnold, but he's thrown it.
Yeah.
Good follow-up work there by Arnold. Really good tackle. And Glenorchy get out of what was looking like a sticky situation.
There's a couple of good contests there, and Wall and Gunther. Wall worked really hard to try and create a 50-50 and a turnover there for the Roos.
So Mott to Bowden.
Kick.
He plays on.
Did you just say
I
Bowden?
did, Bowden, sorry. I did slip up there, Damien. Here's Reynolds. Reynolds, long booming kick, but the wind playing its part with that in the end. Umpire's blowing the whistle here. And the free kick going the way of the Roos.
Yeah, Glenorchy player down at...
It's
I think
Tyler
it's
Bowden. Yeah,
Bowden, and I'm not sure, it might be Cramp.
Here's Michael Fisher now. Short little kick inside to Bushner. Bushner plays on quickly. Drives it forward. And now here the Roos are away. Cox inside 50 and a good mark out in front by the little man Ian Callanan. And he'll go back now and try and make up for that one he missed up this end of the ground in the first quarter. As we said at the time, very unlike him to miss an easy goal. So he'd love to kick this one and try and get his team back to within 4 points.
Smart kick from Jake Cox, and well done to Bushner too, who created some run and carry there for the Roos. Callan gets a good look at it.
He's going to kick from about 40 metres out. The kick looks okay off the boot. Umpire doesn't move too much. It's split the middle, and Callanan has the Roos back to within 4 points in this clash at KG5.
It's a funny old game, isn't it, boys? And the Roos get the first two to start this third quarter. I know Breno will have the stats on how many goals we have got to the left of screen, but you know, we're probably harped on a little bit, but Clarence had a couple of opportunities in the first half, so they probably would think they should be in front, but they get an opportunity now, 10 minutes into this game and into the third quarter, and if they can just put some more scoreboard pressure, you would think with this win, Damo, they'd probably need to be a couple of goals in front going into the last quarter.
Yeah, I think you're right. Brenner's let you down there, but there's only been one goal to the right of screen.
Can you back that up?
And that was Glenorchy in the first term. Jay Bowden bustling on through the middle. He's had it for a fair while. He manages to get his kick out now, looking for Rowbottom. Loose is Wiley. Try and gather the pill. Out the back he goes. Bushner there to help out. Over the top he finds Palmer Hughes racing away. He uses Silver on short. Inclusion into this side this week, and that's not going to help his case for a final spot. Finds Webb, usually a silky operator. Over the top finds Banks Smith.
Clarence player down, boys, as well. Just in front of where this kick will be taken. So
the umpire's going to call a halt to proceedings
who is
at the
it,
moment.
Brownie?
I'm not sure. It's not Michael Fisher, is it, boys?
It's Keegan Wiley.
Keegan Wiley.
That would be a big blow if that's serious.
Well, this is what we spoke about pre-game, didn't we? You do not want an injury in a dead rubber game like this, and if this is a serious one, Clarence will be livid.
Well, he's become, let's hope he's okay, because he's become a really important player for them and one of the more improved players in the competition, certainly at underage level. And some of his early games for Clarence, he played in the forward half, but he's been a really important player for them in the second half, and they're happy for, in this season for the Roos playing in the back half, and they're normally happy for him to be a +1 and have him loose. He's backed himself with his run and carrying his foot skills this season, but the stretcher is coming out.
Not a good sign at all to see the stretcher come out.
No, he's certainly not moving anywhere, is he? He's has not moved from that spot for a good few minutes now.
It looked rather innocuous. I didn't see any sort of major collision or anything, or whether it was a matter of losing footing or...
No, it would have to go back to the tape. I had more. It was a costly turnover at the time from Silver, because the Roos had an opportunity to push the ball forward again, and unfortunately the turnover, and so our focus was ahead of the play a little bit, but certainly
not good at all. So medical staff on hand for young Keegan Wiley for the Roos, being, as you said, Brownie, an important player for them this season. Usually plays loose in defence and mops things up. So two teams in their huddles, and we'll just wait for...
well, let's hope it's not a knee.
Well, let's hope it's nothing too serious. It doesn't look good at all, it's fair to say, for his short-term future. But hopefully it's nothing serious in terms of long-term, Brownie, especially with the improvement he's had this year and what he's brought to the team. So, player halted here. The ball game, just 4 points in it, but where the game was paused, Webb had the ball and Glenorchy looked a good thing. Who have you been more impressed with, Brownie?
Oh, that's a good question. I think both teams have had their moments on occasions. I thought Glenorchy's the second part of the second quarter, last 15 minutes, I was really impressed with their ability to lock the ball in their forward line and to be able to convert. Clarence have probably had the better opportunities and probably should be in front on the scoreboard. So difficult to know how this one's going to sort of play out, Damo, because we know from a psychological point of view it must be hard for coaches and players to motivate their team. We're in a unique situation in the TSL where, as we know, the final five is settled and we know what teams are playing next week. Clarence playing Lauderdale last week, you know, their position couldn't change. They knew they were going to be playing Lauderdale in 2 weeks' time. So I guess from, you know, trying to motivate your players, it is difficult, and you're probably just looking for little individual wins going into the final series, and that's when I guess the tactical nous will take over. But as we look on screen, a really interesting game too up north, boys, and perhaps a little bit tighter than we would have thought, because Launceston are right in this one, 7-2-44 to North Launceston 7-6-48, early stages in the third quarter in that one. So both teams now going through the stretches, and no one likes to see this. The Clarence players have gathered around Keegan Wiley, so there is certainly some concerns there for them as he's carried off on the stretcher. So as we hope that he's okay.
Yeah, it's never a nice sight, is it, when you see the stretcher called out onto the ground. He receives a polite round of applause from the crowd here at KG5.
We can hear the directions back from the coach's box nearby from Aaron Cornelius. Rather vocal. I guess more so for Glenorchy than Clarence. This clash is quite important to get things moving well for them, especially some of the inclusions that haven't had a lot of footy.
Well, the instruction was to get everybody inside the forward 50, apart from Matty Dilger. All the Glenorchy players are inside 50 at the moment.
So Banks Smith just pokes this one up. It's all Clarence though. Murphy Cohen doesn't take the grab. It might be costly now. It's just falling through arms and legs. They managed to get it clear. It's a kick from Grace. Punch clear. Ling gathers. Outside of his boot, he keeps it alive, but it will fall for Josh Arnold. He leads the foot race, bustles through. Gets a little kick into the pocket, but it's all Clarence. And Aiden Grace is eager to get moving from right to left. He finds a target. It's Roberts. He catches some high contact late, maybe fortuitously, because he wasn't taking the grab. It's been quiet, Brandy.
Yeah, he has. I thought he got some touches early in the first quarter, Damo, but you're right, he's gone right out of this game. And I think at his best, he certainly gives Clarence something a little different. Normally a good kick of the footy, he's got some nice agility about him, but we you know, no doubt he's had some horrific injuries over the last couple of years.
Callanan, long and strong, looking for Siggins. He falls over and it falls into his lap. Wouldn't believe your luck over the top.
Oh.
It's not a great kick. In fact, it's a shocker. It's out on the full.
Well, that's just been the story for them. Just that poise and that kick inside 50 has often hurt them. He did terrifically well, Sam Siggins. It was 3-on-1 situation, but he just wasn't balanced when he kicked.
Ball over the boundary line by Matty Joseph, and a boundary throw-in.
It's an interesting game again, Damo. We haven't seen a dominant player on the ground, I wouldn't have thought, for the first 2.5 quarters. So it'll be interesting again with Brené's votes, Damo, as we've been become accustomed to.
No, yours today, Brett.
No, Brent, come on, mate.
Always the
We
last,
need you to give the 3 and the 1 as it falls out the back. Almost picked up by Palmer Hughes. Can't gather. Dilger takes it, and they're away now. Glenorchy. Spank Smith, who's been pretty handy, goes back for Mott. Looking for Reynolds. A long kick. Reynolds can't quite take it on the first grab. Follows up his work. And it's now a congested ball on the far side. Reynolds over the top. It'll be a ball up.
He's a nice player already, Ryan Banks Smith, and knows his way around a footy ground. He's got some good footy intelligence, makes some good decisions, doesn't panic with the footy in his hands.
The ball, up it goes. Wall and Peach in the ruck, and Cox now trying to get boot to ball, couldn't, but still with the Roos. Ball smothered by Webster. And now the Roos away again, but once again it's wrapped up. So the scrappiness continues. This dead rubber.
Run-throughs on the bench there, Breno. Is that Tyler
Bowden? Yep. So we saw him.
We thought it was cramp. Might be something a little more sinister.
No, good call, Gil.
There's the ball up. It's going absolutely nowhere. Under it, I think, is Pearce. He's met with a crunching tackle. The ball up once more.
Well, if you're Clarence, you want to try and get the ball in the hands of Jake Cox just to break open, or maybe it's a Roberts from this stoppage with some run and carry and get it into that forward 50.
Up it goes. Wall. And the Roos. Oh, here's Bowden, who's we know has already wrapped up the RACT Player of the Year. So any vote today is just a bonus.
It's a little cheeky cherry on top, isn't it?
It is. What's that? 3? I think it's 3 times he's won that now,
Yep.
along with 3 Lynch medals. So
It's not many accolades he hasn't
no,
received along the journey. Tremendous player.
We've had lots of ball ups and stoppages in the last 2 or 3 minutes here, boys. And it's going to be difficult for both teams to penetrate inside 50. Liam Smith is a loose man back for Glenorchy and Aidan Grace for Clarence.
so Peach won it down. Here's Mott, silky smooth mover. Off to another one in Jay Bowden. He gets the kick away. James Webb takes the mark in front of Bushner. And Webb now, a little bit of trouble and
Right.
good smother.
That was fantastic from Zach Bushner, and just corralled him there, didn't he? And didn't overcommit and just waited and waited. And really important there because Glenorchy had an opportunity with an inside 50, but it was really well squashed there by Zach Bushner.
Here it comes. And Butterworth in the ruck for Glenorchy. Here's Webb again, being busy. And tapped inside 50. Reynolds there, as is Rowbottom. And a big tackle from Reynolds and Rowbottom. And again, another ball up.
You're getting good match practice in terms of calling stoppages here, Breno.
Yep, it's good fun.
You've been away.
Yeah,
You've got a bit of a niggle.
Really, really getting a good...
Wrestling the man flu.
Yes.
Up it goes. Wade Wall and Reynolds, neither gets near it. Jay Bowden fashions a handball out for Cox. He finds Webberley, manufactures a kick, but it's out in the full. So 21 and change gone here at KG5. Just 4 points in it. Glenorchy with the advantage, and the Roos would want another couple the way the Winds play this afternoon.
Absolutely. Probably only 4 minutes left, I would have thought, in this quarter, boys. Just the 2 goals scored.
So Arnold in. It's gathered by Jay Bowden, but he's met in a fierce tackle. And this one will be another ball up.
Glenorchy would be happy with this at this particular point in time. They've pushed everyone up.
Does it mean much if you win or lose this game today, Brownie, do you think, as far as heading into... Oh, it's bounced through for a goal. Well, there you go. It's James Webb by the look of it. And a goal to Glenorchy, so...
Well, they've got a couple like that out of nothing. Rowbottom was another one in the second quarter, and that's pretty much been the difference. Just making the most of some half chances, and against the run of play, really, particularly in terms of the way the scoring's been throughout this game. Certainly to the left of screen, we haven't seen a lot of action on the right of screen, so they'd be disappointed with that. The Roos, just something out of nothing for the Pies, and just gives them a handy 10-point break in what we don't think will be a very long quarter. I'll come back to your question, Bruno.
So Tyler Bowden back out there and in the ruck up against Wade Wall. Wall with the hit out, decisive, but Jay Bowden should track it down. He does. Handball over the top will find red and white, and that's Ian Callanan. Shakes a tackle, goes long looking for Michael Blackburn. He's been quiet, fisted away by Smith. Harper there on hands and knees looking to gather, but he's met by a couple of Magpies, and it'll be a ball up on the far wing here at KG5. Wind absolutely howling through. It's wreaked havoc all day.
It has indeed, Damo, as we see it go up again, and Bowden and Wall. And Glenorchy now through Butterworth. He gets dragged down with a footy. Not going too far again. But now Callanan gets the footy away to his coach, Jeremy Webberley, inside 50, but a good, strong overhead mark taken by the Magpies. They're away now. Little high ball. Rowbottom takes the mark. He plays on quickly, but as far as a Clarence player. And now Fisher scoops up off to Ling, who's wrapped up by Rowbottom. And umpires holding the ball, so Brodie Rowbottom will take the free kick.
Well, he's a competitor, Rowbottom, no doubt about that, and certainly gives them some grunt. He's competitive, particularly around those contested situations.
He does. He's played on and centres the footy, and Mitch Rainberg takes an easy mark directly in front of goal and will kick from about 35 metres out.
Well, we've seen him play a lot over the years, Damo, and at under-18 level as well as a Mariner. And top age player, and the key feature of his game has always been his marking. But as you said, Breno, it's an easy mark, and Clarence just lost body contact there, and you just can't afford a player of the ability of Mitch Rainbird above his head to just get a free rein at it.
Here he is, Mitch Rainbird, important player for Glenorchy for a long time, and that is a great kick, splits the middle, and Glenorchy move out to a 16-point lead on the stroke of three-quarter time.
Well, I think what it will do if Glenorchy run away with this game, it'll just give them a bit of confidence and know that they've knocked off a team that's been pretty consistent throughout the whole season in the Roos, and then obviously it's going to be a tough ask for them to go deep in the finals because they're in a knockout situation as they go all the way through. But they will go with a bit of confidence if they can go and win in this game, because we know their last year's premiers and their best is certainly good enough.
What's it mean? Speaking to Darren Winter during the week at the press conference, they were stoked to have the bye. They can prepare for Clarence for 2 whole weeks. Does it mean much going into next week's game if Clarence lose this one that they've lost it?
Look,
As Joseph gathers, hands it off to Webb. Thanks for the question right in the middle of play, Breno.
It was before the bounce
Reynolds.
skill. It's all right.
Question marks on that as it goes along. Out in front of Joseph, he'll look to gather. Can't shimmy off his opponent. Runs it out and be thrown in. You can answer that one now, Brandy. If you
no,
want.
look, I don't think so. The question was a long time ago now. I've forgotten it. In what would it mean for Clarence? Look, I don't think they'll be too perturbed either way going in. They prefer to go in with a win, but we all know finals footy is different.
As the ball comes in over the top of both ruckmen, it's gathered and gathered well. But the kick leaves a lot to be desired. Swatting away was Fisher, finds Murphy Cohen. Agriculturally just throws it on the boot through the hands of a couple of Magpies. It's gathered in the end by Dilger, who finds Jay Bowden. His kick is affected by the wind, holds up. His Chambers under it. He's made to earn it and get a kick.
I think from the Ruzo, you still want some spirit, you still want some effort. There's still another quarter and a little bit to go in this game, so you don't certainly want to go in with a bad last quarter and roll into next week down on confidence.
Certainly not over yet either, is it? As Fisher gets the footy. Castle. Handball over the top to Ling, who decides to go for a run. Jones takes a good overhead mark. Plays on quickly though, gets the handball away. And the Roos on the paint of 50. Mark taken. And it's Blackburn. He wants to play on quickly. And does. It's a little choppy kick over the top, and it's gone straight down the throat of Reece Mott. Jake Cox was displeased with that. And now Glenorchy on the opposite side of the ground. Murphy Cohen's there for the Roos. He punches the ball back in. And big Jay Bowden tackle. And it is...
He couldn't have made less attempt there, to be fair, Breno.
That's right. It is going the way of Glenorchy for obvious reasons. And Bowden plays on. Goes just outside the centre square, and a mark taken by Webb. James Webb been a great player for Glenorchy this year. His brother Braden out of the side today. Hopefully he's not too far away from returning. You'd think he'd be back next week, hopefully, as Rainbird's kick wasn't his best, but does okay and lands in the hands of Matty Joseph inside 50, and the mark taken by Banks Smith. And he'll go back now and have a shot, potentially, from about 40 metres out. Handball's off to Mott. Mott loads up. The kick doesn't have enough on it. And mark taken by Jordan Roberts. He plays on straight away. Webberley's there. Handball's over the top. Siggins. Big booming kick up the wing. Mark couldn't be taken by Wall. And now Gunther off to Bowden. Bowden, sidestep. Plays on. Mark couldn't be taken. Camrick and now Glenorchy. They go again. Ball doesn't hit 50, but Rainbird's there. Bounces off. And Chambers sees it over for a boundary throw in.
You saw before, boys, Jordan Roberts, just some run and carry in, deep in defence here. That is when you know that he's up and running. If he can do that in the finals for Clarence, they'd love it, because certainly when he's at his best, that was a real feature of his game. But once you get some more continuity and confidence in his body, he could be a really pivotal player in the finals.
So Peach, we'll look at things. Adrian Peach, a late inclusion today for Mitch Hills out of the side. He puts this one up. It'll come down with snow on it. Coming in late was Reynolds. Picked up well by Silver. Finds Ian Callanan just to kick down for a pack. Amidst the pack was Michael Blackburn. Takes a good clunk. His confidence a lot of good. He's been quiet today, Blackburn. Looks in board. That is a Barry Crocker, but it's gathered by Chambers. Back for Blackburn. Throws it on the boot. A vacant 50. Wade Ball coming late. Too late.
They're really well set up behind the footy, Glenorchy.
So Gunther by foot finds Josh Arnold.
It's been okay, Gilly. Gunther down back too.
He has. We know you're a big fan. Back inside. It'll be James Webb on the ball. Goes short to Josh Arnold. He's had a good afternoon as well, I
He's a
reckon.
good player. Real good player.
He's looking for Rowbottom and finds him. Leads out, does Rowbottom. He's done enough, I reckon.
Yeah, he's an unusual player.
He throws this one up in the air. Tyler Bowden over the top. It might fall for Daly. Bustling through the pocket rocket. Can't gather. Tyler Bowden does. On hands and knees. In comes Matt Ling. And he's dealt with. 3/4 time. Siren blows here at KG5 as the Magpies are up. And it might just be a winning lead.
Yeah, it might be, Damo. They certainly have managed to hold off the Roos there and the Breeze that quarter, that's for sure. So 16 points, as you say, heading into the final change. Might be enough to get over the line. Brownie, your thoughts on the third term?
Yeah, well, I just thought the the goals against the run of play there for Glenorchy, one to Webb and one to Rainbird, was really pivotal. I just thought Clarence, who kicked the first two of the third quarter, you thought maybe if they could get back into it. But, probably the story out of this quarter, and let's hope it's not a bad situation for young Keegan Wiley, but Clarence was just starting to probably get back into that game, and there was a delay there where he went off on a stretcher. Let's hope he's okay. But from there, Glenorchy just seemed to regroup a little bit, get some goals on the scoreboard, and they walk away with a really handy 16-point lead going into three-quarter time. Difficult for mine to see Clarence getting up in this one. They've only scored the 5 goals, Damo, in the first 3 quarters of this game. So you'd think Glenorchy are going to get some looks at it in the last quarter, so they've probably got to kick realistically 3 or 4 goals against a win. So we'll see how we go. We know they've got an eye on to next week, so not sure about the motivation for them going in. But probably what would be for them, I would have thought, in the coaching panel was some of the boys that have been brought into this team today with a real opportunity to perhaps cement their name in front of the selectors and get a place on the 22 for next week in the finals. Just haven't done enough for mine to put their name up.
Not good to see the ambulance roll up to the ground, so that's not good news, you'd suspect, for Keegan Wiley, and a bit of blow right on the eve of finals. Yeah, Clarence, a fair way back here. It's only a small lead, really, in circumstances, but a commanding one given the win will be at Glenorchy's back in the final term. We'll have a brief break now and then be back with the final quarter. we've just kicked another. Is it 13 points?
Oh,
Back at KG5 for the final quarter. The final round of the TSL season. It's the two old foes, Glenorchy and Clarence, going toe-to-toe at the moment. It's all Glenorchy. They hold a really strong lead with a strong breeze to come in the final term. Cam Brown, how do you see this one playing out?
Oh, look, I expect Glenorchy to go away with this one, I would think, and probably win by about 4 or 5 goals. Might be wrong, but I think, Clarence, if you look at the players that are in the centre bounce at the moment, Siggins certainly in the ruck and Cox is in there, but they've got O'Brien, who hasn't played a lot of senior footy. You wouldn't expect he'd be playing finals, and also young Silver. So it's certainly a different look. And then when you consider that plays out of that centre square in Brady Jones and Jeremy Weberly, who's played a lot inside 50 in this game, I think it's about trying to get through for them. They certainly want to go in hopefully with a clean bill of health. That won't happen obviously with Wiley, but let's hope for them they can get through the last 30 minutes unscathed.
So ball up, Siggins with a hit out, but straight down to a teammate that's immediately claimed, so going absolutely nowhere. It was Jake Cox under all that. And it will be rinse and repeat once more. Back again, over the top with Siggins. He takes it out of the air, but can't get ball to boot. Running through was Douglas. He can't find a teammate. And it's a tackle again. This time it's Joseph tackling Fisher, and it'll be ball up once more.
Up it goes. Siggins and Peach. Siggins gets the second hand to it. Jones dragged down. And he's getting the free kick. And now they're away, the Roos, and the kick wasn't great. And the turnover occurs. It's Reece Mott who collects right in the middle here at KG5. Tyler Bowden kicks it to his brother Jay, and he marks just outside the paint of 50. Will he have a crack at goal?
Did he kick the goal today, Damo? I don't think he's on the board, is he?
No, yet to kick one.
Rare. Still been pretty serviceable, but played a lot further up the ground. But
Can I have a
certainly
look at it?
within range.
He certainly is.
That's probably a bit of the difference in the two teams. Just that forward entry then, they just showed a little bit more poise.
Jay Bowden, he can do almost anything in footy. And that one on this occasion, not quite there. And a mark taken by the Roos. Pies blowing the whistle here. Free kick going Clarence's way. And 50 metres too. So brings the Roos back up to their attacking end of the ground.
Certainly missed standard today, the Roos, and just that blistering pace inside forward 50. We can often see him hit up at the ball carrier. He's good across his body. He can sometimes run inside forward 50 and get his opponent out the back.
Ball to the wing. And now here's Jordan Arnold. Liam Smith gets the kick away. Gunther couldn't collect. And now here's Brady Jones. Intercepted by the Magpies. And now they decide to go forward. Bank Smith chasing the footy. Oh, he's hard collect there. And now the Roos juggling the boundary of the footy, and it's out of bounds. The boundary throw in.
So, ball again to be brought back in. We've seen stoppage after stoppage this afternoon. Another one, a scrappy old ball game. I think we'll be treated to better games come finals, fellas. So it comes on in. Tyler Bowden all on his lonesome. Hits it down. Jake Cox gathers. Bounces wrong for Cullinan. Rainbird helps himself. Tries to get it moving. Harper involved for a moment and seen out despite the best efforts of Peach right on the boundary line.
So 3 minutes 15 gone in this final turn. Margin 16 points in favour of the home team, Glenorchy. Here it comes, as we said off the top of the broadcast, a lot of players out for both sides today, so...
I didn't see that.
No. Free kick going the way of Glenorchy here. Mott, plays on, ran himself into trouble. And a big smother from Brady Jones. Mitch Rainbird, big torp onto the boot inside 50. Reynolds back with the flight, takes the mark.
Well, that's not the matchup you want. Michael Fisher on Ben Reynolds because he's got him for height and size, and he used all his guile and experience there, the ex-Devonport player.
So Benny Reynolds was fantastic in Glenorchy's premiership last season. Back halfway through this one to try and have an impact, especially come finals time with all his experience. Right behind this kick in the commentary box, it's just going to fall away to the right. In fact, doesn't quite make the distance, punch through, and actually it's gone out of bounds on the full. So
Interesting call, that one. I thought it was handled on the way through, but out in the full.
interesting.
They're a lot closer than us.
Score review.
They are. They're a lot closer than us. We're a fair way from there. Sam Siggins from the pocket heads into the other one and finds Roberts with a bit of run and carry. Hands it off to his teammate. In goal, it comes short for Siggins. A kick out in front of Castle. Asks a bit of the running defender. He does well. Bustles Arnold out of the way. Takes a bounce. Looks up. Inside 50. Wall presents. He's beaten in the air and he held his opponent. So that's a free kick for Butterworth, and he did well.
He's an honest player, Butterworth. He gives his all.
Short kick for Arnold. Takes a mark inside defensive 50. Well, that one just in play.
Right on it.
Stilgar.
Right on it. Is that
Centimetre
Bev? Is that
perfect.
our boy Bev or not? No.
No, there's not it. Dilger inside.
Top knot.
Little kick. Finds Butterworth. Butterworth looks inside the square.
Kick.
Pinpoint pass. Finds Jordan Arnold. Drops it off for Banks Smith. Out. Presenting was Rainbird. Hits him on the chest. Back for the youngster. Tries to paddle it to himself. He's met with Ian Callanan, who does well. Finds Harper. Can't find a target with a handball. Callanan bustles in. Takes the ball. Over for Harper. And over the top, you'll find Blackburn. Meets it on the bounce. Gets the hands out. They'll cut it back inside. Murphy Cohen in a fair bit of space. Does well. Good lead. Switches out to the right. Jeez, that one's come down with
Slow
snow
kick.
on it. It was a slow kick. Took forever to find Roberts. Roberts inside. Finds Cox. Cox.
Goes inside 50. Jones out in front. Takes the mark. Plays on quickly. Has a player deep. It's Wade Wall. Doesn't reach him in the end. And ball picked up by Castle. He turns around Wall, but the umpire said it was out of bounds. And what's been called here?
Boundary throwing.
Yeah, looks like it was taken out of bounds. So a bit of the crowd becoming certainly vocal with that call. As we see the boundary, umpire throw it in the pocket. Punched away. Cox, he's dangerous, we know that. Not on this occasion. Mott cleverly out of defence. The Magpies out of danger. Mott again. Oh, big tackle from Chambers, and now the Roos have a chance. Here's Cox.
Oh.
No. Wasn't his best work at all, and Jay Bowden. Callanan's in there. Can anyone break clear? Cox was there. Callanan around the corner, but just a little bit too left.
That's
Minor
one of those
score.
half chances again, Breno, Jake Cox. And normally if he had his time over again, he'd go back and have a set shot. I'm pretty sure the mark was paid though, mate. But they've had 3 or 4 instances of that sort of type of decision inside forward 50 that's hurt them in this game and in what's been a really low scoring game.
A pokey kick from Bowden. Finds Smith.
Pressed up pretty well the last 5 minutes in this one, the Roos Damo.
Yeah, they've clogged this one up. The ball comes outside 50 and Bushnett takes it. He's on a race. Goes long.
Mark.
It was an interesting kick, but it's well taken by Weberly. And he'll line up for his first of the afternoon. The wind going the other way, but the Roos have lifted in this final term.
Be interesting to see where he plays next week against Lauderdale. He spent, predominantly the majority of his game has been played inside 50 today, certainly in the second half. So I don't think he'll be playing there next week, and you'll find him a bit closer to the action.
Jeremy Weberly.
In he comes, Weberly. Wanders on in. Kicks it nicely. Umpire did not move, and it's a goal. So here come the Roos. They're only 9 adrift now, Cam.
Well, they're close enough if good enough, and we said they probably need to kick 3 or 4 goals against the Breeze and to the right of screen if they're going to get up in this game. But interesting, just looking at the motivational levels, the energy levels of both teams today. There wasn't a real lot of excitement there when Jeremy Webley kicked that goal. Certainly this time next week there would be, but the Roos have been pretty good the last 5 or 6 minutes. Jordan Roberts has had a few touches of the footy and just showing some run and carry, and Jay Cox is getting his hands on the footy, so a chance here for the Roos.
They're back in it, there's no doubt about that. As we get underway again in the middle, Sam Siggins wins his own footy. Hank Smith's there for Glenorchy. And now the Roos are away again. Big kick inside 50. No one there. Could take the mark. Callanan, so clever. Webley again for 2 in a minute. It's got there. Jeremy Webley kicks Clarence's second inside 2 minutes, and they are back in town. The margin now just 3 points in favour of Glenorchy.
Well, we often talk about Clarence's best 6 or 7 players, Damo, and how pivotal they are. And there you saw them then. Sam Siggins was involved, Jeremy Webley, Ian Callanan, and all of a sudden the Roos now, who are probably only coming into the start of this last quarter. I think they only had 1 goal against. Did they kick any goals to the right of screen the second quarter? I'm not too sure. No, Breno will have the stats on that one. But 3 points now, and the Roos are right in this. We've got a real contest, boys.
Siggins out of the ruck. The ball seems to be moving the Roos' way at the moment. Looking for Cox, swatted away. Picking up was Silva, did well in a spin. Found Callanan, throws it on the right boot. Inside, bit of a chaos ball. It gets out the back to Webley. He can't pick it up. A bouncing ball from Wall. Bounce, very funny.
Strange old kick off the boot, but it almost went at right angles and got through. Gee, Sam Siggins, some big clearances in the last 5 or 10 minutes here, boys.
So out of the defence it comes, picked up by Banks Smith. He finds Jordan Arnold. Looking for Webster on the wing. Ball holds up. Webster picks up the ball. Inside finds Tyler Bowden. Hands it over his back. Silva hands it into the opposition. Daly to Webster. Through hands to Banks Smith. He's been good, the youngster. He sees Ben Reynolds up ahead and finds him. Reynolds turns around. He's got a vacant 50. He has a look at goal and he finishes off. That's experience and composure. Ben Reynolds snaps the Roos momentum here at KG5.
Yeah, great answering goal, and he used all his guile and experience there to kick that one, and smart kick with the wind, and took a nice mark inside 50. It was patient ball use again from Glenorchy. They haven't had a lot of the footy in the last 5 or 6 minutes, certainly not a lot of inside 50 entries, and that's just a body blow there for the Roos, just as they were getting back into this one.
So ball back in the middle of the ground. Game on. Magpies still with a lead. Won by Siggins. Down. Looking for it with Silva. Taken by Daly. He extracted it and finds Webster on a lead. Right on the paint of 50. So Zach Webster, we saw similar sort of range, similar sort of angle. Troubled him earlier on in the game. Kicked another one from a bit closer.
You'd love to see him get a run at it, Zach Webster, throughout the final series. And
he's got rotten luck, doesn't he?
Oh, he
rotten
has,
luck.
even at AFL level.
So
lots of troubles with his thighs and hamstrings.
Marches on in, goes out to the right, gives it a ride. It's high and it's long, and Reynolds should have taken the mark, but Siggins now tries to hand it out. Picked up by Mott, a little kick inside. Fisher first to it and takes a juggling grab.
Michael Fisher. Cam Brown didn't get his wish of him being swung forward in the second half. Kick wasn't his best, and now it's all wrapped up. And we'll have another ball up inside Glenorchy's attacking 50. So the margin now is 8 points. 8-8-56 to 7-6-48. Mitch Rainbird's on top of the footy. And not going too far at all. And we'll have another ball up. Brownie, looking forward to next week. Obviously, this clash between Clarence and Lauderdale is going to be an absolute beauty. Have you got an early tip for us or a forecast to that game?
Oh, look, a long way to go. Plenty to be played out in the next 7 days. But I actually like Lauderdale in that one. I was a bit like Damo last week. I thought even though Lauderdale didn't get across the line, still thought there were some good signs. They'll get some good players back too. And I just think that they might be timing their run well. We know traditionally, or history will tell you, in the TSL, you've got to be in the top 3 to win the premiership. And this is Lauderdale's first opportunity. And we were mentioning off air, they've got a lot of players now that have played 140 games, 7 or 8 seasons of TSL footy together, and I just think they'll be cherry ripe next week.
Can Glenorchy win the flag still, do you think? Damo ruled them out after round 4 on our podcast.
Wasn't that early, but
May as well have been. Here's Webster, and now Clarence turned the footy over. Matthew Joseph kicks it, and now the bouncing footy. Can Glenorchy get a goal? They can. It's an easy one. An easy one to Will Atkin. And they've kicked away again, the Magpies. 20 points.
Yeah, well, he's named as an emergency, Will Atkin, wasn't he, before this game? So he's got his opportunity there. Gee, his dad was a fantastic player, wasn't he, wearing the same number. And he just showed some nice poise and balance there. And hopefully he gets some looks at it in the last 15 minutes and to try and push his claims for a place in a final against Launceston next week, which will be an interesting game in itself. We might touch on that one shortly as well, boys.
Yeah, it will be. There's no doubt about that.
So the ball goes up in the air. Tyler Bowden all on his own. Couldn't find Boot with his throw. It's picked up now out of defence. Racing away was Butterworth. Puts a kick out in front of Atkin, the most recent goal scorer. He'll track this one down with a bit of help from Reynolds. Unfortunately, he's paddled it over the boundary line. Now for another throw. So North Launceston have kicked away up at Windsor Park. What have we got there? 9-4-58, 11-9-75, the Bombers. So Bombers have kicked away, but a decent effort considering the outs for Launceston.
Big upset too in the AFL. Collingwood defeating Melbourne. Damien
Shut
Gill
up.
filthy.
And beyond filthy as Cox takes the ball, striding through KG5. You'll find Weberly. Weberly, not a lot on offer. He just puts it out for Cox. The Star tracks it down. A little kick off the left.
Great
and
kick, wasn't it? Beautifully weighted kick.
He finds Harper. And go back and line up. Give the Roos a shot in this one.
He's one of those role players, isn't he, for the Roos? A bit like Blackburn. They often lead up at the ball carrier or just find pockets of space to run into. They're not an overly tall side, we know that, particularly in the front half.
So Harper wandering in. Bit of a stutter. Looks okay to begin with, but then fades horribly. And it's out in the full.
Yeah, well, so both teams would go in with a fair degree of confidence into the next match, albeit Launceston look like they're going to be defeated by North Launceston, but that's a pretty fair effort against the top team, and Clarence now, in Glenorchy from their perspective, as Ben Reynolds takes another nice mark, been pretty good today, Bruno.
He has indeed. He'll probably feature in Damo's votes, you'd think. Can potentially.
I did the votes last week, you'd know,
but
you were on another holiday, mate. You swanned off for months, and now you think you can just come back in and not give the votes. Yeah.
Burford Cohen's taken a mark and will kick from 30 metres out, slight angle, to try and get Clarence back to within 8 points. We've gone 17, almost 18 minutes in this final term. Murphy Cohen, can he do the job for his team? The kick looks okay, just missed to the left, minor score.
At the post.
Post. So Glenorchy to bring it back in. Oh, dangerous kick. Brady Jones intercepts, trying to get the handball away. Didn't quite manage it. And now Liam Smith, Butterworth, Bowden. Jay Bowden roosts it right up to the wing. And he finds the chest of Rowbottom, who's been great today.
Will he feature in your vote?
Yeah,
He may just do, boys.
Fairly strong endorsement.
Tyler Bowden puts it inside 50 for the Magpies. Zach Webster crunched by a Tim Castle tackle. May have been taken high. And He was the free kick going to Zach Webster, former Hawthorn draftee, of course, back here playing in the TSL interrupted season. One of your favourites, Brownie.
Yeah, look, and certainly when he's at his best, he certainly has blistering speed, run and carry, and is able to really penetrate inside 50. And certainly at Hawthorn, they certainly earmarked him as a small forward in his time with Box Hill in particular. But Glenorchy obviously using him a little bit more through the wing.
Yeah, absolutely. He lines up Zach Webster, and he can't quite make the distance, and the ball goes through for a minor score.
Just poked at that one, didn't he, Brownie?
Yeah, he did, and he would have thought, both teams have probably had some opportunities in this last quarter, Damo,
As a shocking kick back in, Tyler Bowden now looks to gather. He's wrestled off it. Decent bit of work there by Matt Ling. Does well, finds Jake Cox on the outer side. He's got his captain Brady Jones, got a runner in Roberts. Haven't seen too much of him. We might see a burst here. He's got a vacant space in front of him. Uses it well. Good kick. Finds Murphy Cohen. He can wander on in. And puts it through. So the Roos with a bit of life in this one.
Well, that, from a Clarence perspective, you would have loved to have seen that last bit of play from Jordan Roberts because, as I mentioned a few times throughout the call, that when he's up and when he was at his absolute best at TSL level, that was his modus operandi, running off half back and through the midfield, run and carry. And he's normally a pretty good user of the footy. And look, we've got another tight one, boys, isn't it? 8 points in this one. And Clarence, to their credit, have fought this one out pretty well. So from a Jeremy Webberley perspective, he'd be, I think, really buoyant by the way the Brews have fought out the last 20 minutes of this game. They've thrown Callan into the middle now for the first time.
So away they go again. Here's Brady Jones. Gets it further afield for the Roos. Mark couldn't be taken by Wade. Ball out in front, and Gunther gets it for Glenorchy off to Bowden. Bowden gets the kick away, and Mark's taken by Atkin. That goal earlier this quarter. Mott had a busy afternoon. Chips it forward, and good strong mark taken by Ian Callan. He plays on quickly. Wasn't his best kick. Siggins manages to collect though. Shrugs off the tackle. Here's Roberts. He dodges around a player. Loads up from 50, but the kick's way offline.
Works out
That's
okay.
That's a better result, really.
It's not a bad
isn't it?
result.
I tell you what, we've talked about how this game doesn't count for a heap, Brownie. And but once it gets to the dying embers and
The competitive juices take over.
juices do just click into gear, don't they?
I love the fact that Clarence have given Ian Callan a burst in the midfield. Certainly next week.
As Webberley gathers, throws out a handball, if you can call it that. Mott picks it up. In defence, finds Jay Bowden. Safe hands for the Magpies. Just works it out. Running through is Webster. He can't gather. They should pump it back in here, Clarence, and they will with a bit of help from a free kick.
Yeah, certainly, Damo. I know his best days are behind him in terms of playing a large majority of time in the midfield, Ian Callanan, even at TSL level. But I'd love to see him spend a little bit more time in there next week. I just think his smarts and his ball use, if he can get his hands on the footy, 10 or 12 times running through the midfield, gee, he could do some damage.
He could indeed.
Palmer Hughes has the footy. Wants to play on quickly. Drives it inside 50. A high ball and good strong mark.
It was a
out in
poor
front.
kick and poor choice of where to direct that footy. That needed to be at the 10 or 15 metres out from the top of the goal square, not deep in the half-forward, flank-forward pocket.
Butterworth's kick. It was tried to be kept in by Aidan Grace, but out of bounds for a boundary throw-in. The wind's still very, very heavy here at KG5. Last game we'll see here this season, of course. All finals to be played at Blunston Arena or UTAS Stadium. Big double header or triple header coming at you next Saturday. Be right across it here on the stream. Settle in for the afternoon. It's going to be fantastic.
We're going to stream back-to-back games next week. Exciting.
To bring a few
You'll
liquids
need-
along.
I reckon
mate.
we'll have someone on the bench for you, let's be honest. I don't know whether you got two in you. I mean, you've done
Good
3 or
to
4
see you.
games and then went off for a
Two-
month holiday.
Good to see Zach with his own work though, the big fella.
Well, you
Not
mentioned
bench
2.
himself.
You mentioned 2, and it's not a number synonymous with Brent Costello because we've known in the past shies away from 2 votes.
He
So
does.
that's a number
Boys,
which.
you must.
Well,
I've got to tell you a story. I'll come back to it in a
The
minute.
ball,
as the ball comes back
in. Reynolds slaps it down. Jones picks it up for the Roos. A little kicking board. Finds Harper.
Probably been their best quarter, the Roos.
Yeah, I reckon you're right. Especially the latter half of it. They've just found a bit of energy as it comes out onto the outer wing. Slapped through the hands of Webley. The Roos can keep it moving if Silver can gather.
Yeah, the week after that incident with my votes, you guys were both away, and we had Damo's young cadet in doing the special comments, Alex, and he opted with the same voting formula, unprompted.
That's not an endorsement by any means. That just shows that other people panic as it goes long,
Panic.
looking inside 50, swatted away from Webster, but he might just follow up and win it. He can't, as it's gathered from the Roos. Jones has his ball blocked. Bustling through was Webster, just dove on in there, tried to win the ball. Slapping away is Chambers, and it's out for a throw yet again.
Time running out here for the Roos. I reckon there's only a couple of minutes left in this ball game and 8 minutes to go. So they're probably going to have to be really clean from this stoppage and try and get some run and carry and sprint back and to the goal square and score a goal. But it is going to be difficult. But I've really liked their last quarter. I thought they've really stuck at their task really well. Certainly won a lot of the footy.
Callanan, Grace, Chambers, and now the Roos are
Here
away.
we go, boys.
Look at this, they're on here. Murphy Cohen, but no, the ball doesn't do Murphy Cohen any favours. Bowden, and now Reynolds, a high ball inside 50. No one could take the mark. But now here's a chance for the Magpies over the top. Webster, he's in the goal square and kicks the easiest of goals, Zachy Webster. And the Pies, you'd think, would be home now. That is a 14-point margin at the almost 26-minute mark of this final term.
Yeah, definitely. Well done to Zach Webster. He's always had speed, hasn't he? And when it's just him in front of the goals, he's able to run on to a handball there and kick was no doubt the sealer. So both teams will obviously have a good week on the track and they'll have plenty of time, haven't they, to have a look at their opponents. No doubt there'll be someone Aaron Cornelius would have up there looking at Launceston today. And from the Clarence perspective, we know Darren Winter was here watching from Lauderdale, and they'll be their opponents next week.
Reynolds wins the hit out. Mott gathers, turns, fends, and just gets it on the boot despite Callanan pressure. A good smother rather coming from Jones, but wandering away is Jay Bowden. He loads up, looking for Rainbird over the back. Can't gather the mark, and it trickles over for a behind.
Can't be too much longer left in this one as we count down to the finals. All pretty exciting. 2 blockbuster games coming your way next week on the live stream as we see Dilgat take the mark for Glenorchy. Plays on quickly to Gunther. Can't wait to see him playing in September. Bowden takes the mark and tells everyone to calm down. Plays on, goes inside 50. Kick wasn't his great. Fisher punches away. Here's Mott. Gets collected, gets the handball away. And now Palmer Hughes off to Fisher. Callanan.
It's been good, Fisher.
He has been good. Callanan again with the footy. Bowden, handballs backwards. Now Tyler Bowden, a high ball to the square. Rainbird couldn't take the mark. And still alive, but seen over eventually for a boundary throw-in.
Really looking forward to these votes, Brownie.
Yeah, it's
been a tough game to watch, to be honest. So
and look, it's a Brent Costello type of day for voting, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, maybe you do leave out the 2. Difficult to I guess put someone up from a 1 and elevate them to the 2. We've seen
Happy
that
to have a crack,
neglected.
unlike you two.
Oh, we've done it
go
for
to
weeks,
the vote.
mate.
Ah, please.
you wouldn't know. You're sunning yourself.
Please.
You were
Give it to Breno.
you're
Yeah, give it to
you're
Breno.
Wet and Wild or something.
Yeah, SeaWorld and everywhere. Oz. Been everywhere.
Up it goes. Tyler Bowden and Wade Wall. Wall
Water
with
bomb.
the hit out. Rainbird picks it up, but runs it over.
The Outback Adventure. It was good. Been there,
So,
don't
28 and change gone here. You'd think the siren is looming. Comes in again over both the ruckman. Brady Jones picks it up, bustles away, and takes his kick as the siren sounds on a Magpie victory. It was a funny old ball game, but 4 points is 4 points for Glenorchy. They got some run into the legs of some key cogs. And for Clarence, it's a game that was soured by the injury of young up-and-coming defender Keegan Wiley. Boys, how we see it?
Oh, look, full credit to Glenorchy. They run out 15-point winners and did what they have to do. What they had to do today, and set up it for mine in the second quarter when they kicked 4 goals to just 1 point from the Roos, and probably used the ball a little bit better, or able to get it in their hands of some of their more experienced players throughout the game today, and they'll go in with some confidence. But certainly Clarence weren't disgraced today, and really liked their last quarter. In terms of where I guess they might be able to address some things, I just thought it would have been a little bit of poise in some of the decision making inside 50, because they had some real opportunities to score today, but butchered a few of those. But look, it doesn't cost them. That's the beauty of finishing high in the top 3, because they know they're playing against Lauderdale, so they'll get a bit out of this. Both teams will get some players back. As you mentioned, Damo looks like Wiley will be out, so that's a real damaging blow for them. And Glenorchy Watts was a late withdrawal, so you would think, if there was any doubt at all on Josh Watts, you don't play him, and that was a decision made obviously in the warm-up. So, both teams certainly won't be going into the finals lacking confidence. So well done to Glenorchy. Did what they had to do and beat a top 3 team today. And Clarence, apart from some of their ball use, they still had some good moments today. Just disappointing for mine that some of their players that had an opportunity today to maybe push their name forward really didn't take it by the scruff of the neck, and so it'll be interesting, because we know both teams have got some players to come back.
So that's the season. That is the 2017 home and away season wrapped up, and we're on to finals next week. Before we get going, I'll just whip through the goal kickers and then throw it over to Breno for the votes. The major goal kickers for Glenorchy: Webster had 2, Reynolds 2, Singles 2, Webb, Rowbottom, Rainbird, Tyler Bowden, Callan Daly and Will Atkin. For the Roos, Aidan Grace kicked a couple, Ian Callanan was on the board, as was Jeremy Webley with 2 quick goals inside a couple of minutes. Jared Harper, Jake Cox, Luke Murphy-Cohen all on the board with singles. So Glenorchy with the chocolates. Brent Costello, now over to you for the votes.
Yeah, difficult job today, boys, as you alluded to earlier. Could have given a lot of players 3, 2 and 1, to be honest, but someone's got to be ballsy and pick a few out. So how would you like me to do it? Which order?
Well, it's hard to predict that, mate. You're asking
1, 2, 3 or 3, 2, 1?
Yeah, we would have thought the conventional way, but you've done things differently, mate.
1, then 2, then 3, but you last time went with 3, then
maybe,
1.
Maybe count it down on the 39 players who don't feature, maybe do it that way.
Yeah, rule out players for us.
All right, well, 1 vote I've given to Brady Jones.
Ooh.
I thought he was good today.
Interesting.
2 votes to my man Brodie Rowbottom. I enjoyed his work today. I thought he was good.
Yeah.
And 3 votes Reece Mott. I thought he was fantastic all throughout the day.
You don't have a lot of confidence in your vote giving. You just looked over with just
I was waiting for you.
A look for. You needed the affirmation.
Just
give your votes, mate. Just put it out there with gusto. You don't listen to the ABC and hear Mark McClure just sort of gently let them out. He delivers them.
You 2 have had some ongoing joke all afternoon, so I just have to be wary. That's all. So no, I'm happy with those.
What was it again? Repeat it for us. What was it?
1 vote was Brady Jones, 2 votes Brodie Rowbottom, and 3 votes Reece Mott.
There we go.
Tough day to do votes. I thought both teams' back half were pretty good today, and in particularly Arnold brothers. I thought they did some really good job. Smith early was good for Glenorchy, I think. Cox certainly in the second half was a good performer for the Roos.
Did Breno squeeze in a defender? No, he didn't.
Defender.
No, interesting. Interesting. I don't think he likes defenders.
Actually, Siggins was pretty good as well for the Roos.
He was. I was too scared to put him in.
It's his go-to when all else fails.
In all fairness, it was a scrappy sort of game,
it was
and different blokes went in and out of the midfield. They were played in different spots, and it was swirly conditions, difficult for forwards. So look, we'll look forward to next week. And haven't we got some great footy, Breno? A double header on the
looking forward to
live
it.
stream.
Looking forward
6
to it.
hours.
6 hours. We're going to have I don't know, to get us through it. And I think we'll have someone on the bench to replace Breno. But there we go. We'll be back next week with both those games live from Blunston Arena. Join us then. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage. We've enjoyed bringing it to you. Bye for now.